This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, if I could have everybody's attention. If I could have everybody's attention, please. It's 5:02. We finally got the AV stuff figured out. Thank you, Stephanie.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Way to go, Steph.
So, want to call this meeting, golf committee meeting, December 13th to order. We do have 4 in attendance. If you're comfortable there, Michael, it's fine. There is a seat over here if you want it.
Good.
So, okay. Sorry, we don't have enough room for everybody. This is the best we can do. Feel free to file in and, find a seat on the floor. There's an extra seat over here. Apparently there's one more chair if somebody wants it. What, nobody wants that one? Why not? Come on. All right, so we have 4 in attendance here, and we have 1 online, Campbell, so we do have a quorum.
So it's online?
I don't know if, I didn't see, is Russ online? I didn't see him online. I didn't see him earlier, no. Okay, so we'll go ahead and get started. First off, can I get a motion for, if everybody's reviewed the minutes, for approval of the minutes from November 8th?
I make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Campbell's good, thumbs up.
Darren, can you arrange to have the golf minutes posted on Connect? I noticed that committee doesn't have any minutes posted.
We can do that. All right, so make a note of that. All right, thank you. So first up is the course superintendent's report, as well as the head pro GM report. I believe Michael is here to do both. This is Michael Blair. For anybody that hasn't met Michael yet, he's our new GM here. And the floor is yours.
Thanks very much. So I didn't really get to talk at the last golf committee meeting because there was just a lot of talk going on, but I wanted to introduce myself. I've been in the golf industry for 40 years of my life. Started with Club Corporation of America in the early 80s, managing country clubs for them in California, Colorado, and Florida. I managed all the golf courses at Walt Disney World for a number of years. I opened the Ritz-Carlton, Orlando Grand Lakes Golf Club, and also the Ritz-Carlton at Dove Mountain in Marana, Arizona, where the Essential Match Play was played. I also managed several large golf courses in Long Beach, 5 of them actually. Very, very high volume golf in Long Beach. It was a municipal golf course. We did 100,000 rounds a year on those golf courses. Every one of them did, 5 of them. So I love working the first tee. I know how to do that. I know how to fill up tee sheets. And if that's what you want done, I can definitely do it. So I do have a background in agronomy, so the stuff we're going to talk about I actually understand. So my wife and I lived here, raised both of our daughters 17 years, left 17 years. Now we're back raising our granddaughter. We're going to the same schools as my girls went to, Bishopmore High School and St. Charles Borromeo. So we're kind of excited about that and enjoying it. So thanks for welcoming me. It's been a fun 5 weeks, let me tell you. Lots and lots of downloading of information. I've never worked in an HOA, so that's kind of new ground for me. I've lived in HOAs, but I've never worked in one. So the golf course report is from Ethan. The golf course is in great shape going into winter months. November was unusually warm. We took advantage of the warm weather to spot treat some areas with fertilizer. The par 3s, tees, and practice range tees were treated. The weather has also helped us growing in the nursery. And we applied granular fertilizer every week and have already mowed it once. The end of the month was a little tricky because we received that 6 inches of rain. But the drainage here is great, so that's a wonderful thing. We did see the sun a couple of days right around Thanksgiving, as we all remember. And here's the part about, we did detect a little pythium, which is a systemic root rot. If any of you are familiar with that, on a couple of grains, and we made some fungicide applications to curtail that. That was on the 29th. And it stopped the pythium, and we recovered without really any significant turf damage. So we'll follow up with another treatment 14 to 21 days from now, and then that will be the end of that treatment being required. We also had kind of a crazy thing where we had some football teams practicing football with young, 8, 9, 10-year-olds. And so there was some damage to some tee markers and a little bit of damage to one of the grains. But we got all the old tee markers out. We ordered new tee markers to replace. And a member was nice enough to cut out some plastic tee markers with a 3D printer. So that was kind of nice. And let's see. So that's about it for Ethan's report. Moving right along, acting tonight as a general manager and golf pro, although I can't play that well anymore. I have spent the last 5 weeks talking to people that I know in the golf industry at Walt Disney World and also our next door neighbor at the Omni about their marketing plans, as well as Julie, all the hard work she has put in developing a marketing plan so that we can move forward with a very aggressive market analysis. It's already been done. Tomorrow I'm meeting with a golf marketing gentleman who's done that as his profession for 40 years. He owns Golf Orlando, which is, some of you may or may not be familiar with, but he actually is responsible for some of the really major high-end clubs.
Excuse me, whoever has their mic on, can you please turn your mic off?
I don't know.
It's none of those. I don't know what happened to everybody.
I'll just talk about it. So he controls and markets.
Minimize that.
Marketing plan for Shingle Creek, the Ritz-Carlton, Metro West, Hunters
Yes.
Creek, us here in Championsgate, and a few others of that level of golf club. So he understands the market. He understands the price point that we're looking for, and he will certainly be able to drive a significant number of dollars to us in public play.
No.
At the last board meeting, it was talked about, and I have since talked to Peter Lightburn, that the leagues are willing to move from an 8:30 tee time to a later time of the day. That will allow us to book early morning tee times at $129 a whack. That's what we're after, right? So I was very pleased about that. Hearing him say that, I'm working with him on that, and that's just something we need to do. So these are the kinds of things that I've been working on in the last 5 weeks, in addition to getting to know the property and all of its nuances, and certainly I understand some of the things that we need to still further address. But just wanted to know that that's what I'm doing. Because I know a lot of people wonder, what's this guy?
So question, Michael. So does that mean you're going to allow public
Can you
times
ask,
on
can
the
you ask,
Saturday?
Darren, sorry, can you ask whoever's
That's
speaking?
not what I'm saying. I'm saying that
I think we need
if we can
to,
move the leagues, which I think we should, and there has been a willingness to do so, then we can allow, we can have more tee times earlier in the day for
Campbell, can you hear him?
public. Can you hear me?
It's not it's not Michael, I can't hear. It's the people asking the questions. I can't hear them at all. So they're going to have to come up to the mic.
Yeah, that's the question.
So you gotta summarize the question before you do the answer.
Yeah. Oh, so the question was, were we gonna open up tee times earlier in the day and move the league play to later on Saturdays? That's a call that Peter and I are still yet to make. But he seemed and said in public forum at the last board of directors meeting, not this past one, but the one before, that he was willing to do that. And so the willingness to do that is the first step, right? Recognizing that blocking out that 8:30 tee time on a Saturday, every Saturday doesn't necessarily need to be that way. And also keeping in mind that we have leagues every morning, right? I mean, practically every morning. So, except for Thursdays, which gets into one of the other things I wanted to mention. When I was meeting with Patrick Dill at the Omni Championsgate, he's the director of golf and general manager over there. I got to know him through the Ritz-Carlton. He was the director of golf right after I left. Anyway, what I talked to him about was reestablishing a reciprocal privilege for our golf members to play over there. And he was very happy to accommodate us with the lowest available rate, as if you were staying in the resort. All you have to do is call up and say, I'm a Championsgate member, or even do it in person, and you can make a tee time. And I will get those actual numbers based on what time of the year it is. Obviously, it changes from winter, spring, and summer. But conversely, what I wanted to talk to him about was he has a guy that's been a marketing director there for 22 years, right next door. In your own mind, you can think about how many times were their golf course on a Thursday, which we have identified should be used as open play or could be used as open play for tournaments. How many times do you think he's overbooked? Well, we should be the first call. We want your Thursday tournament. And then our golfers can go over there and play on Thursdays. It's a win-win deal. We make money, we accommodate their guests' needs, and we accommodate our members all at the same time. So those are the kind of things, again, that I'm working on, or have already accomplished actually on that one. On the subject that you all want to hear about, everybody in the room wants to hear about is, I forgot. We've opened up the tee sheet on Golf Now to 90 days out. 90 days in advance, people can plan their vacations, plan their accommodations, plan their golf, as you would expect. So that's going to be another great thing for additional golf rounds.
They pay when they book.
They pay here.
So they can book it, but they're not paying anything.
Well, you can do it either way. 90% of our rounds here thus far in all the years that we've been operating at Championsgate has been pay at club. They book online, they pay at club. But it's guaranteed. There are others that they pay Golf Now, and it's called a prepay. So they can do it either way.
It's my understanding, right? Julie, correct me if I'm wrong. Right now with Easy Links, it will not accept a prepay book, right? With what we have, but under the new point of sale system, it will.
Correct.
And there's also the concept of a deposit.
Yeah.
Meaning you leave a credit card and if you're a no-show within our
You get charged.
48 hours no-show policy.
So,
we take your,
right.
apply the funds to
You get charged.
So that's not a possibility right now with the current point of sale system, but it will be with the new one.
Yeah. We have thus far opted to not activate the prepay.
Why?
We'd rather have the money be paid here.
Right, but they can cancel at any time and go somewhere else. It's no hardship to them.
They could, but they will get penalized for that. There is a charge for that. Yeah. So where was I going? Public sales versus wholesalers. So there's several three-party suppliers of of golf. One of them is golf now. The other one is Golf Pack and US Tee Times, which are the same company. Then there's Golf Zoo, and then there's Golf Orlando, and a few others. We're going to do business with all of them, but what we're not going to do anymore is trade with Golf Now. That's one of the aspects of losing or getting rid of Easy Suites and replacing it with 4Ts, is that currently we trade rounds in exchange for Easy Suites.
That contract isn't up till the end of September, though.
I know, it's exactly right. It's up in September. So we will not renew that contract. So what happens with Golf Now, you know, when you're trading that, it ends up that you're paying about $6,000 a year for a POS system, essentially, and Tee Time system, which is fine if you don't have the money. But if you have the money and you have the technology and you find a better vehicle, then you might as well go with it. So it was a good decision that the club made to go with 14. So how many annual pass holders have we sold thus far is the question, and that is 5. No, that wasn't the answer you wanted to hear, but that's what it is.
At the board meeting, it's not much difference, but at the board meeting, Alan said it was 6 singles and 1 family. You were at this last board meeting, this was last Monday, this past Monday.
Okay, so I missed one.
Okay, missed 2. Oh, I thought he said 6 singles. Is that right? Okay, I stand corrected.
And I
5 and 1. I knew it was a different number.
I didn't know about the 1 single. We have been, as a team, as a golf team, Keith, Joel, Faye, and now myself have been calling the individual pass holders that they are most familiar with. Obviously, I am not familiar with, but they felt like they had a good rapport with, to ask them, hey, what are you thinking about reinstating your trail fee or your annual fee? And all 3 of them characterized that the response they received most often was, it's not a matter of money. I can afford it. It was the way I was made to feel. And I'm just saying it like it is. They didn't feel the love. So some of them may make a decision to go with it. Darren's going to talk tonight about an alternative payment idea, which I think is great. I've looked it over, we've talked it over, and I think it meets a lot of various individual needs based on the amount of golf these individuals pay or play per annum. But I am going to take up the charge of calling every one of those people, as well as, now that we're going to introduce this new program, along with the rest of the golf staff, to see what interest we can generate in that. Trail fees has not changed significantly either since Monday. But I think that it will. Most of the people are waiting until January, is what I'm hearing from staff. And that makes sense as well. This is really not an incentive to pay today in December. We are conducting audits of cart sales versus tee sheets, so we know what is being booked versus what is coming in for the entire month of November. We were off by 9. That's pretty good for 30 days. I was pretty pleased with that. We had 2 no-shows. They were both members. So both members were warned. We're not going to make you the first, but if this happens again, we are going to charge you, as dictated by the board, as it should be, because, you know, I'm sure it was a busy day, and we could have got another golfer out there. So it is what it is. We've been asked to have course rangers in the late afternoon. We'll be starting that next week. We're gonna have the golf pros teach the rangers and the outside services guys, and we're gonna make some changes on who's running the tee versus who's marshaling. So you'll see that as it gets implemented. Easier to do this time of year, of course, because sun goes down at 5:30. So it's not that big of a deal. We're gonna, summertime, a little more difficult because sun goes down at 9. But I'll go out there and marshal during the summer. And we already have a pro scheduled on AM and PM shift. So there's one or the other of them from open to close every day. And then in between, I'm over there, over here, over there, over here. And that's about all I have. Do you have any questions for me? Or do you want me to just sit down?
Michael?
Yes, sir.
Did you actually say how many trail fees have been used?
How many we've sold?
Trail
Is
fees.
it 376?
What?
Trail fees.
How many have we sold?
Yeah,
I don't know the number.
I had the number, I'm sorry, I put it in my
I
briefcase.
don't know the number.
Yeah,
That's one of the things we've asked from Faye that.
yeah, it has
we
not
haven't
changed
gotten it.
since Monday. Okay, was anybody here that remembers the number on Monday?
There was no number. We haven't heard anything for quite a while.
I'll give you that number, I'm sorry that I didn't memorize it.
Can we get last year's numbers as well? Because the suspicion is that there's going to be more doubles going to single. And I'd like to be able to measure if that's true.
That's probably a true statement. That'll probably happen because that door was open. Yeah, that was made available.
Can we get
That's how I think.
both sets of numbers then?
Well, you made a statement that they're not necessarily true.
Yeah.
When you say loss of revenue.
Well, yeah, it is.
No,
It's going from
let me-
3,500 to 1,700.
Well, no, because
That's a loss of revenue.
Well, let me finish, if you will. Everybody just keep it down. All I'm saying is, if the same number of rounds are played and now you have to pay $29, that might not necessarily be a loss of revenue. It could actually be an increase in revenue. I want to make sure. Well, I know just.
I'd like to say the numbers.
Well, that's true. That's true. And I'm fine with that. It's like, I just want to make sure that everybody understands exactly. It's not necessarily loss of revenue. It might be different revenue. So.
I'll put it this way. Okay. The guaranteed revenue
Yes.
is not there,
There
right?
you go.
But if the person is doing the math, they're deciding whether that other trail fee, are they going to incur that, or is it going to be better for them to pay as they go? Or, right, that's what everybody's doing.
Right. In short,
So as they try it on for size, so to speak, they may decide this isn't a better deal for me because I am playing more golf than I thought I was, or going to play in this particular year coming. But if you look at it just apples to apples, making that critical assumption, yeah, it's going to be a reduction.
so how we look at it, if I could real quick.
Guaranteed.
Yeah, one thing is what we've looked at is rounds played is the king here, right? If rounds played are there, the revenue will be there. Whether it's via trail fees or cart fees, the revenue will be there. As long as rounds played stays consistent or increases, we're fine.
Darren?
Yes.
So just help me with understand what additional information was provided to the board to reverse the 5% increase across the board and change it to the $17.50 per person? What additional information was provided?
You weren't at the board meeting when
I
that
was
took
at the board
place?
meeting.
Okay, so we talked about it all right there.
No,
I
you
don't
didn't tell
have
me,
it.
you didn't say
So-
what additional information was provided to the board for them to reverse the previous decision.
What we did was we decided that, and I don't have it all right here in front of me, but from recollection, what we decided was, we had decided a long time before that. We had talked about it back when you were the liaison as well.
And you saw the
And,
correspondence back and forth.
and we felt that, always did feel as a group, we always did feel that charging everybody the same amount was more fair, that there were people that were paying single rates, and we heard from them as well, that were saying, we feel like we're being penalized because we have a married couple that are paying less per person than we are. Why is that? And so we felt that it was more fair to have everybody pay a rate. That's why we also didn't go.
Why did you propose the 5% to the board as opposed to just straight up saying 1750? You proposed as a committee,
Yep.
agreed as a committee, 5%.
Yep.
And then after it was agreed and approved, people changed and the story changed.
When we did that, we decided to back away from the 1750 and go with the 5% increase to appease people, right? We didn't feel that that was the right thing to do, but we did it to appease people. Then the board came back and proposed an increase on second cart fees that seemed out of line, and there was no basis for the amount that was given to us from the board. There was zero data given to us as to why the amount that the board came back to us with and said the second cart fee should be this. Nothing. There was nothing given.
Calculations.
There was nothing given.
Okay.
There was nothing given to us, Marilyn, and I'm just saying, this is what, so there was nothing given. And the board was trying to take this all in a whole different route. And so that's when we went back and said, no, let's go back, let's forget about all this, because there was, in those communications, there were some very disturbing things. And that's when we came back and said, let's go to the original amount, okay? Let's go to, let me finish the whole story. Let's go back to the 1750. The board came back and said, no, we don't have an appetite for that, but we'll back off of the second cart fee. So that happened, and we were all fine, right? And I fully admit, and you heard it in the board meeting, when new board members took over, we were asked, I was asked, they said, we have an appetite for that 1750. We believe that that's more fair. Please present it. And we brought it back to the board and back to the committee and asked, do we want to do this? And the committee said, yes, we believe that was the fairest way in the beginning. We now have a board that supports it. Let's go forward with it. And that's what happened.
I will ask two more comments. So one is there's a total of 6 second carts at $235, less than $250 each. So we're really talking $1,500, and you've made that material change to 250 people in the community. And then the second position I have is how many people on the golf committee will benefit from the 1750 versus the single rates that were provided? And I'll ask that question of the board as well.
To your first question, what was your first question again? There's only 6
second carts.
So then my question would be back, if it's only 6, and we asked this too and didn't get a response. If it's only 6, why was the board going after those 6 people? What was the purpose of going after those 6 people? We didn't understand it. We didn't understand it, and there was no justification given for it.
You were privy to the emails.
Yeah.
The question was raised. They thought it was too low, and many people thought a second cart at $250 was inadequate. And so, because the wear and tear on the course is materially more, the whole idea behind second carts was really around, people have a second cart because they don't often golf with their partners.
Right.
And now you've basically screwed people that actually golf together and play as a family. Because now we're all singles.
Hold on.
I'm going to leave it.
Well, wait a minute. No. You made a comment, but you made an accusation. You just made an accusation that we screwed people. You just made that accusation. So I want to respond to that.
You screwed me.
So let me respond to that, okay? You just heard me say that there were single people who felt like they were being mistreated. What do you say to those people?
I would say to those people, when I go back and look at the trail fee, singles and families for many years paid the same price. I've gone back and looked at them. The trail fees have never been, the lowest it went was $1,850 about 3 years ago, when it went to actually breaking out single and family. Prior to that, when Lennar was here, single and family were the same, whether it was the full year was the same and the half year was the same. When the golf committee got involved and we did turnover, we broke it out such that there was a single and there was a family and there was a half-year family. So I'm just saying to you,
Okay,
it never was below
So-
1850.
okay, so I mean, if we talked, when we went to single individual rate for everybody, we talked about going to 20, the singles were at like almost 2,300. We talked about going to 2,300 for everybody, not reducing anybody. That would have been a whole nother issue, right? For the families having to pay 4,600. That would have been a whole nother deal. We didn't want to do that. That's why we picked the 1750. Okay, and then that 1750 worked out to be revenue neutral for the budget. We weren't looking to make revenue off of cart fees for the budget because we knew that there was another source, public play, that was much more important. And that's where we wanted to focus. So that's why we did that, because we thought by reducing it for everybody, it'd make it more palatable across the board. So that's the reason for that. Now, that's what the golf committee decided and agreed upon, and that's what the board voted in, and that's why. So that's the reason for it. Now, I understand that you don't agree, and other people don't agree as well, and I get that, and I respect that. But please respect the fact that the golf committee truly believes that this is the fairest way, and that's why it did what it did.
So answer my second question, and I will leave it at that, because there's a lot of people online
Yeah.
that are criticizing.
Well, it's not open forum yet, so we don't.
It's not, but I understand that
How many people on the board and the golf committee benefited from the reduced
I
rate?
believe that it's 4 out of 7, if you want to say that benefited from it. I believe it's 4 out of 7 benefited.
I didn't.
You did not.
I did not.
They did not?
Yeah, you did. You did a couple $100.
That was last year, Marilyn. We paid $17.50 each this year.
Yeah.
So how did
So I
they?
didn't benefit.
You would have benefited about 33,000 plus your 250. You benefit a couple $100. It's immaterial.
Wouldn't it make sense, excuse me, I have a lot
I'm
of
done.
questions.
I'm
I have
done.
a lot
It's
of
supposed to
questions.
be an open forum here.
From what I hear, the previous board did not like one of your proposals, and the golf committee pushed back. And then you wait for the next board to like your second proposal.
No, we did not wait for the golf committee. We did not wait for anybody. We were approached. We were asked by the board. The board has asked us to do other things as well. And to consider other things, which we have done. And this was just another one of those situations. We work in partnership. It's not, we work in partnership, right? If the board comes to us and says, we would like the golf committee to consider, we will consider. Yeah.
Did not the treasurer vote against this? So our treasurer, who is in charge of our finances, actually disagreed with this proposal and voted against it.
Correct.
So it wasn't the whole board.
It was one person.
One person
It was one person, yes,
who came to you.
yes. What?
Right.
No, there were two people ultimately that ended up coming to me. Yes.
I just want to clarify, that the board is making a decision or is the golf committee making a decision?
The golf committee, well, let me respond to that, please. The golf committee doesn't make any decisions. We will take, we don't, we can't. We have no authority. We have no authority, but we do listen and take recommendations. And then when those recommendations come in, we will discuss them as a committee, right? And we'll decide if they're right or wrong. We haven't agreed with everything we get from the board. We don't agree on everything amongst ourselves, right? So, but we will discuss it. We'll take it under consideration. And that's all we do. That's all we ever do. We're not trying to promote anybody's agenda, anybody's thoughts or beliefs or anything. We as a group take into consideration all thoughts, everything. That's in part why we've made adjustments over the original things that we proposed this year. We're going to make another one tonight. We've made multiples already. So we listen. We do listen. We're not trying to be. We're not trying to harm anybody. We are. If you look at in our charter as to what our mission is, it isn't for any one group. It is for the community as a whole. And I assure you that every decision that we have made, if you go back and listen to our early meetings from when this golf committee started, we talked, I brought it out and stated it many times that we are for the community as a whole. We are not just for golfers. We're not just for men golfers. We're not just for women golfers. we are going to look at the community as a whole. And the decisions that we have made, we really firmly believe that we have made them with the community's best interest at heart. Now, whether people disagree with that, I understand. But even in relative to our pricing and everything, because we believe that the long-term future of what we're doing is going to be ultimately better for the community. But that's why we've done what we've done. We're not trying to be, antagonistic or disruptors or anything like that. And we're always open. We've never done anything quietly, discreetly, or anything. We talk about everything that has been done has been talked openly about in this meeting. Sure, we have conversations when we're golfing or out and about like everybody else does, but everything that is done comes through this open meeting. Everything.
Darren, I think this is I've come to the meetings either online or not. An inordinate amount of time is spent in these meetings talking about the most divisive thing that's happening in this community, and it's damn trails we take. There are winners and there are losers. When if you look at it that way, you're taking something from me, I'm paying more, I'm paying less. And we should be focused on paying what is fair. And what is fair is that if you play golf and you play golf and I play golf and she plays golf, we all pay the same amount. You pay for play. This is not giving discounts because you're single or you're a family or your spouse doesn't play. It's the stupidest discussion ever. It's divisive. It creates a lot of energy. The last meeting that I came was 3 hours talking about the same thing, and whether the grandparents or their grandchild was going to pay.
Yep.
Get rid of the damn trail fee, please. Okay? Pay as you play. I go in my car or I go in the lease car, in the fleet car, I'm going to pay the same amount. So that when I look at my neighbor next door, I know he's paying the same thing. It's not like we are on an airplane and you know that you ask the guy next door, it's like, what do you pay? $100. Oh shit, I paid $300. You're not getting screwed. All right? So please, get rid of the trail fee. Get rid of the trail fee because this is wasting too much time instead of concentrating on what Michael is doing here in trying to increase income here. Okay? And it will get rid of anybody saying that you, Darren, or this group here is making decisions to benefit somebody else. You benefit the whole community by going to pay for play. And that's all I got to say.
Can I raise one? I just want to respond, and I know we're having this discussion, and that's fine. It's all fine because it's good. We need to have it. I want to raise a counterpoint to that, and something that this is Darren's opinion. We haven't discussed. This is Darren's opinion. Okay, to that. I completely understand what you're saying. Respect the position. But the other thing that is here is that the golf club, like every other amenity around here, is shared by everybody, right? And the golf club, we've heard realtors say at the board meetings, how the golf club, the golf course, increases the value of our homes. Everybody's home in this community is affected by the golf course. So why should one person, whether they use that amenity more than another or not, have to disproportionately pay for the use of that amenity because they use it more often than somebody else? And so they are so they are subsidizing the value of people's homes more than other people are. When I think of cost accounting, that's what I'm understanding.
All right, so I appreciate that that's your opinion, but let's just talk first about amenities, okay? Like the gym or the pool, okay? That's an amenity. You are equating a golf course. Now, you don't come to the pool here and you make money by coming into the pool, correct? So we have an asset that produces income for our HOA. Do you agree on that?
Mm-hmm.
So you cannot call it an amenity, because to call it an amenity means it will be closed to the public, means it will be treated as a park, so nobody will play. Let me finish. It's a park. I look at it, it's beautiful, it increases the value of my home. But if it's a park, the only fixed cost that you have is fertilizer, the labor, people cut the grass, but there's not one person in there. You have no staff. You have absolutely nothing. So every time somebody will step onto that course to play, guess what? You're going to have more costs, right? So what you're saying
Well,
is that
there's an
you're
overhead
saying
cost,
that
yeah.
now that you're gonna increase labor, fertilizer, and all those costs for someone to use the course, you are subsidizing the beautiful view that somebody will have.
Not the view. No, I'm not talking about views. I'm talking about the value
What
of
I'm saying
people's
that,
homes.
I am concerned, okay, that the golf committee, I don't know if it's just everybody's opinion, that the golf course is an amenity, is preposterous, okay? It's just, unless we have decided, you have decided that this is a private course, okay? And I don't think anybody has decided that here, right?
No.
Then you have
Not.
to disassociate yourself from that idea that this is an amenity like a gym or a pool. This is an income producing asset. And we need to manage.
But I disagree with that. I do. I'm sorry. I do.
I consider it an amenity because with the purchase of a home here in Championsgate, one of the amenities is golf course. You get a membership to our golf course. So to me, it is an amenity, but it's an opportunity, it's an amenity that presents an opportunity for us to get some revenue for the community as well. So I think it's a balanced both. We have to have a happy medium because, I do sell a lot of homes here in Championsgate. And the number one reason why people move here to Championsgate are golf courses.
So, yeah, but wait a minute.
So I just want to say one thing, one quick thing, one statement. I have one statement and then that's it. I have one statement. I believe this is fine and I know others believe this too. And I appreciate the position. I completely do. Absolutely. But I believe it's an amenity first for the people that live here and it's a revenue producer second. This has to be an amenity for the people that live here. It's their amenity. It's their asset. And if they want to play in the morning, they should be allowed to play in the morning. It's theirs.
But my point is this.
It's theirs.
It's pay for play. It's a means of subsidizing somebody. It just makes no sense. You're paying what you need to do. You're paying for what you're using. How can you say that trail fee is a better way? You're actually by cheapening, by doing discounts on the pay for play. Who is subsidizing this whole thing?
Well,
Can I
what-
interject for a minute, please?
Sure,
Okay.
go ahead.
First of all, I disagree with, him saying that everybody should, not use their tail fee or their own cards. Because first of all, if you're going to, if you are going to eliminate everybody's golf cart, then you're going to charge for play every person, which, then you're going to need a lot more golf carts, and that's cost. That is wear and tear, either leasing or whatever you have to do. So when people are, taking their own golf cart, they pay $8,000 or $10,000 or $12,000, and then they pay trail fee. So it actually subsidizes the golf course rather than the other way around. Because you are, if you are not going to have your own, people then they don't have their own carts, then you will have maybe you need another 100 carts, and you're not going to have it.
So,
Can you just that's what you said.
No, I didn't say about getting rid of the cart. I said the trail fee.
Okay, but that's the trail fee. So why will I use my own card if I have to pay? If I don't have trail fee, why will I use my own card? I'm just going to leave it in the house and then go over there and pay.
But you run a golf course, right?
Maybe pay 20 instead of 29.
Pardon?
Maybe it's pay 20 instead of 29.
Well, I don't know, does it, but still you're going to need the golf, the club is going to need a lot more golf carts.
But let me say, you run a golf course, right? You own a golf course.
Yes.
Right. So is the business of the golf course to rent a cart for the time?
Both.
But you have time, right? You have a perishable asset, right? You have a perishable product.
Correct.
Which is you have so many tee times every 10 minutes.
Correct. Yeah.
So if you use
Well,
your
we
own
have
cart.
every 8 minutes, golf course every 8 minutes.
That's right. So I'm not advocating to get rid of the use of your own golf cart. What I'm advocating is that there's no need to have a prepaid thing where everybody's gonna say, well, I'm paying less than this guy. Now it's
It's not, it's all about.
Okay, I'm sorry. We got to get moving. I'm gonna let
I have
Dan.
one more question, please. I have to make, and then I'll.
One more, and then Dan, and then we're going to move the meeting forward.
One of the things I want to, I'm just, first of all, the trail fee, I have no problem with trail fee, all right? We always, there's a lot of us over here, they come in and, they're here 4 or 5 months of the year. have the committee, didn't look at kind of these people that are coming in, they're not here all year round, why should they pay the same amount that the people are here 12 months of the year, as a thing. Okay, so that's basically, that's my question.
Okay.
Can I just ask a question? Can we just take a poll? Please raise your hand if you're interested in the golf committee considering pay as you play every single round. Raise your hand. Who is interested in not pay as you play, but having a trail fee?
They can be mutually exclusive.
They can. I'm
We're
just saying who-
interested in pay for play.
Just one of those, what I wanted to say is because
Or
of the
play.
people that we have, I think we have 250, 300 carts out of the neighborhood. So 1/3 of the community has a golf cart that they bought expecting to be able to use it on the golf course. So to change that then you're going to make if we change the play, I'm not saying we don't have to, we can't. It's just one of those things that the golf committee has to look at. No matter what decisions you do, part of the community is going to be adversely affected. So all of a sudden, you're going to have 300 golfers. If we all of a sudden, now I've already paid $10,000 for my cart, and I golf 100 times, so now I'm paid $2,000 a year, and I only golf 100 times a year. There's people in this room that golf way more than that, and they're talking about $6,000 to $7,000 in addition to what they pay for their carts. And I'm just saying that's just one of those things. And
It's not a binary
Okay.
decision.
Hang on.
I'm sorry.
What I'm saying is,
We will wait. We can bring this up again in open forum.
Campbell, do you have a question?
I've allowed a lot of conversation.
Campbell, do you have a question?
The agenda, please. We have to move on with the agenda. I mean, we can keep here all night. We have discussed this like 5 times in 5 meetings now, and I've given plenty of time to it. It's time to move on. We're going to move on right now.
Laura just really captured the bulk of the people who came here would rather pay for play than their trail. That doesn't mean that it needs to be the same thing. I disagree with this gentleman over there. I think if you buy your cards, the golf club again, because of using it's a different number. But I certainly think that the lady Laura, when she put her hand on the sentiment here is more people would rather pay for play.
I agree.
All this full time, everything else it takes that away.
I agree, and that's a good poll for the people.
Because I agree with the point that you made. I mean, we've invested in cars as well, so I don't think it should be the same. Can I just make a last point? It's not a question. This is to do with the fact that this is the golf committee. We are part of the community. When I look at what's gone on this year, we've had a 12% increase in A2I that everybody's paid. The goal between what you put up forward on the trail fee at $29, however you want to describe it, and the member fee, you can add those 2 things together. And say what increase have we had golf using the golf course? We've had 4.5%. So no wonder the rest of the community are kicking off. We've had a 12% increase. We've had a 4.5% increase. The next year on the HOA, as I said, the golf have asked for another $500,000 more than they've had this year. I mean, no wonder the rest of the community think we look stupid and ridiculous. I mean, shameful as a golf sector. For the rest of the community, shameful.
Sorry.
Well, no.
Here though.
Yeah.
I just want everybody to know, I love you all. I hope everybody agrees on something. I want to unify the community. Everybody be happy. I got your backs. I love you all. And I mean that, okay?
All right. Thank you. All right. So it always takes a baby to bring everybody together, doesn't it? I mean, come on, let's be honest, right? So, all right, so moving along. All right, so I want to let's move in so the golf committee can conduct its business. Let's move into old business, junior professional annual pass for residents. It's one of the things that we tabled at our last golf committee meeting. And so we want to talk about that. we had talked about for homeowners who have children still living at home, young professionals starting their careers, whether they be in college or beginning their professional career and are still living at home, that have always been, playing here, but then they're over 21 years old. Do we want to offer a annual pass for them that is less expensive than the current offering? Something for like 22-year-olds and at the last time we didn't agree on an age. We didn't know what the upper end was. I think I threw out 29, but it was just a starting figure. Do we want to do that? Is that something that we want to do? So if we want to move, what I'm going to do to try to move this along, if that's something we want to do, I would entertain a motion that we have a proposal for doing that and a fee, and then we can talk about the fee and all of that.
Well, before we do that, because the last meeting, we approved that all extended family members can play at the guest rate no matter any number of times, which I think that almost negates the need for this now. Because now a junior professional gets to pay the guest rate and they can play every weekend if they want to. So why do we need to offer an additional pass at a discounted rate when they're paying $59, $69 every time?
That's a great comment. We could do that in discussion after but.
Well, I didn't want to have move.
Okay.
I don't know if we can.
But we can, but we can, and then we can move to that. We don't have to vote on it, right? We can have a discussion. But is anybody interested in making a motion to have a junior, to put a recommendation forward for a junior rate? In addition, apart from
hang on.
a guest rate.
Let's just do some calculations here. So if we're talking about a guest rate of say $80, and I don't know, maybe Michael can tell us what the guest rates are going to be. I'm not sure.
$59, $69.
What is it?
$59, $69.
69. Okay. So if we say 69 and we multiply that by 52 weeks, let's say this individual, this young person plays once a week, every week. That's $3,588. So do we want to say, you're saying don't give them any more discount, let them pay that rate. If they pay more than that, they just pay in excess of that, as opposed to saying, let's say $4,000, half of our 8,000 annual pass holder, and they play unlimited. You don't like that idea?
I don't, because because if they're students, they're going to work, they're not going to be able to play full rounds. I don't know if I don't think the juice is worth the squeeze. It's just I think why don't we see, because we haven't even moved into the next year with using this guest rate. If there's a need for this next year, then I think we should press. But I think that we've already solved this problem with fathers, mothers, and all the extended family members, that we've already solved this. I don't think we need to solve it.
Well, I have something I want to say. I think I understand your position. I think we do have an issue because we do have people, I believe, in order to use the guest rate, you do have to golf with a member, so they can't golf alone. We should allow them to be able to golf alone if they want to. And I don't see any damage in if we were to offer a junior, say at 4,000, 3,000, 4,000, whatever it is. I don't see anything wrong. If we get 0 people sign up, we get 0, and they use the guest rate. That's fine. But it gives them the opportunity to do that. It would be a junior pass holder, and then they don't have to golf with a homeowner, or a parent, or whomever, and they'll still be able to golf
Darren,
on
are you
their own.
proposing this?
No, not yet. We're discussing it.
I will open it up to you guys to get
This is
your
golf
feedback.
committee
Just give me a
business
minute.
right now. I'm sorry. When we open it up if we get a motion.
We'll ask you guys.
And we open it up, if we get a motion and a second and we open it up for discussion, then we can talk about it. So,
do you want to?
Campbell, do you have any?
We're just
hang on a second.
right now.
I think you're opening yourself up to a lot of cheaters. Somebody's gonna say, oh, this is my son, he lives at home here in Championsgate, and he lives in Lake.
Just give us 1 minute.
Let us work through this.
Campbell, do you have any questions? Do you have anything to add to this?
I do. I agree with what Darren says, but will they get full annual pass holder status?
Just the volume? I don't-
Yeah, Campbell.
Hold on, Campbell, we're gonna try to turn up the
Campbell, we can't
volume
hear
if we can.
How about the computer?
Laptop, laptop.
He's got a-
Is there a volume somewhere?
Volume up.
Yeah.
The mic or?
No, it should have a volume.
Or can it go?
You know, I hate to turn, I hate to shut the door because there's people out in the hallway.
But he's still not loud.
Anybody have
All
any
right,
idea?
can we just keep it really quiet so we can hear him, and we'll try to restate. But, well, there's people out there that want to hear what's going on, I think, so. Okay, all right. All right, let's keep it quiet, please. Okay, Campbell, go
try
ahead.
again.
Before you put the motion forward, the question I would have is, what kind of status do we give them? Is it full annual pass status? In other words, they can't book until after 8:30. They can bring X number of guests. Or is that something different?
I would say it's full annual pass status, just my thoughts, full annual pass status at the reduced rate, at the junior rate. That's my thought.
What's your thought, Campbell?
The reason I say that is then we're going to piss off a hell of a lot of annual pass holders that are paying $8,000.
Okay. Fair enough.
So are you for it or not? I thought you said originally you were for having it.
He's against it.
No. Before we make a motion or anything else, okay, have a
I was
listen.
just thinking that.
Okay, sorry, we can't hear him. We got to be quiet, please. Campbell, start over, please.
So I agree with what you say is that they can't work at the guest rate simply because they have to golf with a member. But if we give them annual pass status, they can't have the same status as someone who pays $8,000.
Okay, so what would you propose that they have
Well,
as
for
an
one,
alternative?
they can't bring guests.
Okay,
That would be one thing. They cannot bring guests. And yes, there has to be a restriction on their tee times and the number of times they play.
So it's not, so you don't think unlimited for a price then, Campbell?
If I could, I think we need to refine this proposal until it's more defined, bring it to a discussion of somebody firm up. It's like, well, having a pass then is not really the same kind of pass. And then if we're going to put limitations, can they bring guests? Is there certain times that they can golf? They get the same privileges that all the other pass holders get? And then at what age do you consider them a junior? You know, it brings up whole different things, because if they're old enough to be a homeowner, then why are they getting a discount?
So with that said, can I volunteer to do some sort of analysis fairly quickly, present it back to the golf committee, and we table it at the moment instead of putting forward a motion, and we revisit this?
Okay.
Is that okay?
Are we good with that?
With that said, to be transparent and open, I would love to hear any comments from anybody here before I do an analysis.
I think we should ask our golf pro.
It's great to be here. My comment would be that most private clubs offer a discount to juniors because they are beginning their careers and they're not able to pay as much as the more advanced, fully established people. But that's when you're paying an initiation fee. It has nothing to do with your dues. It's, you pay, let's say the initiation fee is $20,000. So you pay 10 and, until you reach a certain age, and then you pay the other 10. That's all it is. That's what it's normally. My thoughts are is if you're 21 years old or older and you're living at home, you got plenty of money. Because you're not paying mortgages. I mean, let's.
Some are in college.
Right?
Some are in
Well,
college.
so what? Then-
But then there's the
and if
definition
you're
of
in
family, and
college,
they're qualified to be members.
if you're in college, then your parents are still paying all the freight anyway.
So Michael,
No, but they're members under the family definition. Because
Correct.
they're living at home and over 21.
Michael, can I say
Yeah.
something here? In your opinion, okay, we get a lot of controversy here every time there's something financially coming out of this golf committee. In your opinion, should a golf committee be doing all these financial decisions at their level? Or should this be something that the people that are professionals should be doing this stuff? Because this causes so much controversy against these people because they're making financial decisions that affect them, that affect everybody in the community, which to me, we hire a company. These people shouldn't be in their charter, and it says they're not supposed to be doing financial decisions.
Exactly.
So, like, to me, this should be left at a higher level. They should be doing tournaments, green stuff. They shouldn't be working on financial decisions that affect them, their families, and the whole community, because it creates so much controversy, as we've seen over the last 4 months.
I'd like to read the mission of the golf committee. I'd like to read the mission statement of the golf committee as presented in our charter that we all signed. Okay? I want to read this. The mission of the golf committee is to monitor, observe, and discuss golf-related activities and provide recommendations to the board of directors regarding the maintenance and operations of the golf course. Operations, we heard this, right? While the management company has been contractually engaged by the Championsgate Country Club to manage the day-to-day operations of the course, the golf committee will work closely with the head pro and management company to enhance the golf experience for all residents. The main objectives of the golf committee will be to ensure the golf course facilities and services are of a high standard while maintaining our financial stability and providing all members with a rewarding experience. That specifically says, well, this is what's in our charter that we all had to sign.
I'll read this right out of your standards if you want.
But you're failing.
Values is something that can be modified.
Well, it can,
All the
absolutely.
corporations make it.
I don't.
But it doesn't work for our community. We can change the mission of the community.
We can,
And
absolutely.
avoid the mess for you.
It can, the board can.
Exactly, young lady. We can change
our
it.
charter is and what we all signed on to do.
Go to the committee standards. Go to the committee standards.
Do you want me to read the standards for
Sure.
you that you signed on to?
Well, this is, well, wait a minute. No, wait. Scott,
Yeah,
just a second.
yeah. Read those
We have
standards,
a
pal.
charter.
I have it here.
This is what's,
And the committee standards and the
okay,
social media.
yes. Well, then. if-
Golf committee
okay,
is a joke.
This is one of them. This is one of them.
Agree,
Okay.
there's issues.
Yeah,
Okay,
this is one of them.
My question was actually to Michael, not to yourself. It was to say, do you not think that the pro shop and the pros that we hire should be looking at these things? And it would take away all the controversy from things like this.
I would love that. I would love that.
Let's do it.
But let me ask you, let me ask you, Scott. Scott, you were chair, right? You were chair of the golf committee, weren't you?
No.
You were on the golf committee, right?
Turnover committee.
Weren't you? You were on there for turnover. Okay, you were on for turnover. Okay. But the golf committee, as far as I know, I understand, but the golf committee has been doing this. Yeah, he did. He agreed. He said yes. He did. So then that's when I did this.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that go into this decision, and this thing that you've been talking about on trail fees and annual fees has been going on for, what'd you say, 4 or 5 different conversations over the course of the last several months.
Let's
So
say
yeah,
brutal conversation.
what's that?
Let's say brutal conversation.
Brutal conversation.
Personal
Yeah.
attack conversation.
Which is never healthy, Obviously, I've thought a lot about this. I think all of us are professional businessmen and women that have been very successful in everything that we've done in our lives, or we wouldn't be living here at Championsgate. I mean, I can't afford to live here, but you can. You've made a lot of great decisions over the course of your lives. And you've learned to live and work collaboratively so that we come with solutions and not so instead of just problems. And that's what needs to happen between this board or this golf committee or this membership is let's work collaboratively towards a solution that everybody believes in and would endorse, not showing favoritism in any way, shape, or form. Now, I didn't mention this earlier, but when you mention it, ask me a question, I'm going to tell you what I think. When it comes down to trail fees, having a private cart is a privilege, pure and simple. And the number that you allow to have on your course is dictated by the number of carts in your fleet, so that you can create a total of 144 players out there. That's 72 golfers. Most of the clubs that I've been, 72 golf carts, excuse me. Most of the clubs that I've been associated with, we never allowed more than 100. You have 200. And it does take wear and tear on your golf course, particularly when you allow people to take single carts. You got 4 carts in the course, ridiculous. Right. Terrible thing on a golf course. Pace of play is shot off the roof because they are going to play faster than the group in front of them that isn't got individual carts. Yet they don't understand that because, wait a minute, I got a private cart, I paid a fee. I should be able to do this. No, that's not how it works. It should be paired up. If you're both private cart members, then decide which cart you're going to drive that day. Not a big deal. Shouldn't be a big deal. But the point I'm making is that if you limit the number of people that have this privilege to have a private golf cart on the golf course, you can charge whatever you want. Literally whatever you want. Because you got a waiting list of people behind them that would like to have that privilege, that already live here, that other 200 people that live here that already have carts. You can literally charge whatever you want. These decisions were made way before I got here, and I understand that. And you understand that. Would I do it? Would I have done it? Would I have changed from a family fee to an individual fee? No. If you and your wife play golf, here's your fee. If just you play golf, here's your fee. That's it. I mean, that's the deal. It's always been done across America in every private club that any of and every one of you have been a member of. So that's my answer. I know it's contrary to what some people in the room think, and I know it's contrary to the other half of the people in the room. I know that. But if you ask me a question, I'll tell you what I think.
So with that in mind. So with that in mind,
Yes.
Would you prepare an analysis instead of me doing it for a junior professional and what your viewpoint would be on that and present it back to the golf committee? Is that fair to ask?
Yeah.
Can I add I'm sorry if I can add a comment. We're going through issues at the plaza up here with the review of the membership. First Service is supposed to be finishing up an audit. I would strongly suggest that we deal with membership once and once only because, again, while you can try to sell a membership for just the plaza only, people are going to then encroach, say, why can't I do it for golf too? So I would start with making sure your legal ducks are lined up for the first issue. Then I would deal with memberships. We have kicked people off and forced them if they chose to take the annual pass holder when there was parents living with children, kids living, whatever. I think you need to look at it holistically, but I would start with finishing that first project first. I don't know how many people you're talking about, but the records for just the golf database alone probably have about 100 homes that need to be reviewed before you can even make some of these decisions.
Okay, good point.
So this is really.
So I want to.
This is really concerned. So why is it that we just ask for the golf professional for the first time to provide the analysis and the committee will do the analysis? Because that's what we pay for them. I mean, why is it that the people that we pay for the analysis, which I haven't seen yet?
Can I answer?
And yeah.
I'll answer. And this is not, Mike, you've been here 5 weeks, Mike. So,
Yeah.
all right.
So,
so here's why. Okay. So if the golf committee recognizes issues with T-sheet, if they recognizes with issues with revenue loss, that's been happening at the club for any various reason, are we supposed to ignore it because it's the management company's responsibility, or should we bring that to the attention of the board? I want to ask what people think of that right there. No, I want to ask. What do you think of that?
Shouldn't the manager be providing that information every 3 weeks? Every week?
Yes, but I said to him, but if it's not happening, if the management company is not providing it, it's not happening, it's not being brought, it has not, and we've noticed that it's happened for months on end, and it hasn't been brought by management company to the board's attention. Would you want us to bring that to the board's attention or leave it alone because it's the management company? Please, let me show of hands. How many people would want us to bring that attention to the board or not? Thank you. So that's all we've done. That's what we've done.
I just want to let everybody know, it's like, I think we all have a feeling that not just First Services, even Icon and Lennar before that, if they had the data, they didn't want to share it. But from my perspective, the last 2 management companies up until now didn't even have the data, didn't know how to use it, if they could pull it. So, I mean, now.
Well, how many years have you guys been running this board?
We've been here since we've been here. Our first meeting was August.
Yeah.
Well, every year that a new.
Yeah.
So we identified problems that have been
Absolutely. I asked from day one. I asked Tom day one for all of this information that you're talking about.
And those are provided.
RJ.
I asked him daily, I asked him weekly,
before him.
I asked him many a times.
We identified issues. Just wait. One thing, and you can talk. One thing. We identified issues that have been happening for years. Okay, years, and we brought that to the attention of the board. That's what we did. That's all we did. Okay.
Who's listening on their phone?
So, I'm sorry, Teresa had her hand up way in the back.
Teresa,
you had your hand up?
I've been part of this golf committee since we first got here, 2018. I volunteered, I've helped with this golf committee, and this has to be probably one of the most hardest years because we have taken over as a board. I've never seen, we've had golf meetings the whole time the year I was on here, we had 2 people show up to the golf meeting. And now everyone wants to criticize anything that these guys have done when all we're trying to do is make it better. And no one on that golf committee or no one on that board is making any decisions to justify to make our lives better. And it is very frustrating that now all of a sudden, everybody wants to come in and say, you shouldn't be doing this financially. Where have you been for the last 4 years while we have sat there and worked our ass off to do nothing but try to help this community? My opinion.
Okay.
Sharon.
Yeah, no, he hit his hand first.
I spoke to Alan a few weeks ago, privately, and tried to express to him that the board of directors needed someone independently. But it's worked that night. He said, no, we're not going to do that there, but we're going to bring a guy on board, this guy here. And that, to me, that's clever, you know. So my only worry is he's getting paid by FSR, and I don't know if that could be a problem, because to me, he's on our side. We should be issues that we have with whether it's you or the plaza or whoever. We go to this guy here, and he's going to portray what our issues are to the main board, and it's going to be giving them advice and giving you guys advice, and that I think that's brilliant. And that should take away a lot of the hassle that you guys are getting.
Absolutely.
So to that end, one quick thing.
I want to move on to the actual agenda, because
Well, I know.
we're kind of
I agree.
pontificating
I
about
agree, but
the problems of the community at
I
large.
think this is-
rather than dealing with, I thought we already tabled the junior
I
professional.
think this is getting, and we did, and I think this is getting though to a lot of the discord that's going on. And so I want to address one thing, and I very much appreciate your comment. Michael can attest to, Michael and I have met a number of times, and since he's come on board, and we have turned over a lot of the things that we have been doing financially, looking at T-sheets and all this other stuff to Michael. He has taken it on, and you've heard some of the things he's done. We are backing away. We're letting him do what he wants to do. Julie has prepared a marketing plan before Michael got here. There was no marketing being done by FSR, none, zero. Okay, nothing was being done to sell this course. There wasn't one advertisement, not one email went out, nothing was done. Julie has put that in place. She has met with Michael several times. They've had lunch meetings and turning that over to him. We are trying to back away from this and let FSR take over, but they weren't doing it before. So we stepped in to try to do this for the community while there was nothing being done. That's all we did. I want nothing more than to step away and do fundraisers and fun things.
Yes.
That's all I want to do.
Exactly.
We want to have somebody in place, but we can't let Rome burn either while it wasn't getting done. So that's why we did the things we did. We're trying to do only good for the community. And that's why we want nothing more than to back over. Like we sat down, he sat down with us for a little bit while Julie and I were having lunch before here again, and we talked a little bit more. So we're in constant communication. The more I can give him, but I don't want to throw everything. I want to be there to help. We want to be there to help as he is working on this transition. But that's what we're trying to do. And he's taking a lot. You've heard some of that. We're backing away. When Tom was here, Tom is the one that asked me, will you please come and meet with me one day a week? He said, because this is over my head. I'm struggling. He asked me.
That's nice, Tom.
So I went and talked to him, and I'm not a pro, right? But I helped as much as I could, right? Because I'm trying to make this place succeed. So I put more time and effort into it. And that's what we did, but it didn't work out. But we're moving in a new direction and things are looking up, and I'm hoping that they get better. And the more that we can give to Tom, sorry, Tom, sorry, Mike, more to Michael.
M-I-C.
The better. And it's moving in the right direction, but we couldn't step back and not and see what was happening. There was no revenue. The T-sheet was a mess, an absolute abomination. And so we tried to do what we could. So.
Can we have Sharon make the last point, and then we're going to move on?
I'll wait till the public forum.
Okay.
Thank you. Very good.
Okay. Next.
One comment, and then we're going to move on.
I think it's not the fact that a lot of people are showing up now because we didn't care before. I think the community was deceived. We didn't think we were in the situation that we are in now. And we are coming here, and it's not that we want to attack it. We want answers, and we want people that are sitting there and on the board and everything else to work together. We can't now just put everything on him either, because the management company has to do its part. They have to do their research. How are we going to bring money in here to eliminate the debt that we're in, so we won't get into the debt the following year? So it's not that we're attacking you or that we want to put everything on one person. I think we just want the whole system to work together with one goal, which is for us not to getting into debt, and for us to be able to afford this, because not everybody's rich here, and afford it and live a comfortable and happy life with each other.
Completely understand and appreciate.
But
also the community needs to know what's going on.
I just want to disagree with one of your words, because I don't think there was no perception. Now, that would be intentional, that somebody was trying to hold information from me.
I didn't know that there was 6% of advertising and all. I didn't know that. I think all of us would be expecting advertising for our golf course.
We didn't know that either until we found it out. Until we found it out. So let me say this. This is the golf committee. Oh,
I
you're not
think it was
blaming.
negligent.
I don't know if it was Lenard or it was the other man.
But let me just say this. This golf committee is the one that found that out for the committee and has made the change. So we've, I just want to give kudos to these people up here because this is the committee that found this stuff all out.
Yeah, no, we just don't want you to
Well,
take.
yeah, we absolutely were going to take credit for it. We're the ones who found it. So why shouldn't we? And I would hope that other people appreciate that we've done it.
Darren, let Michael, Darren, let Michael speak here.
Go ahead.
Absolutely. Julie's done a fabulous job of putting together a marketing plan, but up till now, before that, the only marketing done was by Lennar Sell Homes. Period, right?
Amen.
But they did a heck of a job of doing that, selling a lot of homes, selling a lot of homes that people bought because of the golf course. But yeah, somewhere along the way, whether it was Icon or, us collectively, nobody thought about, we need to start marketing our golf club now that we took over as ownership group. And so that was, I don't know how many boards, but 2 or 3 probably, that just never thought about it. Right? Two, that's right, 2 years. So there is $100,000 in next year's budget for marketing. It's not a lot.
75.
But, well, it'll probably be 100. Just wanted to let you know. But, it doesn't go a long way, but we're already, because of Julie, on Facebook. I look at it every day. I look at how many people are clicking in, how many people are liking us, how many people are making comments, and it's working already. Now, I can't tell you how many people are booking golf yet, but I will be able to tell you that as we go on and go forward. So that's a great thing that's being accomplished that was heretofore not done. Amazing that it wasn't being done, as Darren said, but not surprising. And one of the things I recently talked about with Terry Horn was, every time a home sells in here, that's a potential member. That new homeowner, that when that home gets sold to another person, they could be golfers. We should be calling those people up, right? And saying, hey, you want to join the club? Are you golfers? Blah, 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 feel make it. And that's just the thing you do. So we should still remain in partnership with all of the local realtors that are selling homes in this area. I mean, those are all the things you should be doing that weren't being done. They're spending marketing dollars, and those marketing dollars are going to benefit us.
So the only thing I can say is, Lennar, I think they, 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago?
I guess.
2 years ago?
That's the turnover.
So I think this is the first time that I see someone beside the board speaking, that they have led them, because the last time the manager, the golf manager wasn't even able to say anything. I think we have hope, and everything that you have said is really on spot. And I think it keeps continuing that way, and, they take your input and into the decision-making process. I think we're going to be good, because everything you have said is
So we need to move on with our agenda. Yeah, we need to move on with the agenda. We really do. We have a number of things. The next one's a biggie.
Let's recap of what we're doing with the juniors.
Well, with the junior professional you pass. He's got it. Michael's going to work up a proposal and bring it to our next meeting.
Yep.
All right?
Clean up the data first. Do the
Well,
analysis.
okay.
Yeah.
Well,
He'll do his.
yep. All right. So, annual pass option. So, what we want to talk about, what's on the agenda, is a proposal for another option for annual passes, another payment option for annual passes. The current options will still remain in effect. This new option is for singles for $4,500 plus $29 a round. Also, in addition to that, where we were going to cap it at 50 annual pass holders annually, we're proposing this proposal increases the cap to 65. The purpose of this is twofold. One is we have heard, we have listened that another option needs to be there, especially for maybe those annual pass holders that don't play as often as some do. So what this option would allow is those that are your moderate annual pass holders, say 60 to 120 rounds, something like that. You could go to 150 round, whatever you want to say. Would allow them an opportunity to have this annual pass rate, which would be a lesser amount annually than, say, what now is the $9,000 rate. So it allows for that. Whereas the $9,000 for your high volume golfer is still a benefit for them. You have somebody that's playing 250 rounds a year, that high end. This wouldn't appeal to them because they would be paying considerably more. So it gives you two options now. If you're a high volume golfer, you have the one option, which is card included. If you're a lower volume golfer, it gives you this option at $4,500 plus $29 a round, and then you decide how much you want to pay because you're playing a cart fee along with your round. This is a $1,500 increase over last year. Last year it was $3,000 plus. This is a $1,500 increase. The annual pass holder rate in 2016, people were charged $2,500. Wrong. Well, I got a pass holder who said they paid.
Hang on.
I got a pass holder in the room who says that's what he paid.
No, Darren, a renewal was $2,500.
Last year.
Correct.
No, I'm talking 2016.
I understand, but even last year.
Yeah, I know.
Someone who's been.
We're going to get to that point.
Okay.
But we've got an annual pass holder who paid 2016, paid $2,500 in here. That's what
I can share the data with you.
Okay, but that's what.
2,500 started in 2020. And
Okay.
stayed the same until last year.
I was just going to switch.
No.
So in 2017, just wait. In 2017, Terry, correct me if I'm wrong, 2017, then his renewal rate was $2,000. But his first year was $2,500.
That's right.
Is what he said.
That's right.
So my point being, in 2016, $2,500, and the renewal rate in 2023 was $2,500.
We had monthly rates up until 2021 that, like, Bishop was doing a monthly rate of $300.
But that's aside from the 2,500.
No.
Or the annual.
No.
Did you have to pay?
They used to do some one-offs.
Did you have?
There was lots of.
Oh, that's a pay as you
Yeah,
play, but that was another option, is what you're saying.
Yeah, you can buy monthly,
okay,
3 months.
that's another option. But I'm just pointing out that the annual option in 2016 was $2,500, and the renewal option for 2023 was $2,500. So it shows that it hasn't gone up. Okay, is what I'm saying. Now it just really hasn't. And in addition to, when you look at, if we want to compare it to at all, if you consider this a comparison to what our, and I know this is recent, but, and it applies to this now, we now know that our homeowner dues between all of our association dues are likely to be going up around $1,600 a year. Between the country club, the master, and the Oasis. So this is comparable to that. This is not off base. It's the same amount. And so that's why we're proposing this $4,500. We think it's fair. We think it's doable. We think it's more affordable, and it allows people to pay as they go. And if they're not going to be that high volume golfer, this is a good plan for them.
So can we do a motion before we open it up to the floor?
So this is the proposal.
Are we good? So between us, hang on a second. Hang on. Hang on.
We're not ready for open discussion now.
Hang on.
No, let them do this and why are you not offering it to him?
Because generally how this works, let me explain, let me answer your question. We have been operating, this is a golf committee meeting, and we have been I have been running this very unorthodox. I have been letting people talk openly at times when it's not generally open. And so generally how it happens, and we want to do that with this one, is we first talk amongst our committee. Then we have a motion and we have a second. Then it's opened up for discussion. then we have open discussion. But before that, the committee does its business.
The motion is not meaning that it is carved in stone and we're voting on it. Okay, it's just a motion.
And then we can open up discussion. So first, let us do the motion and let us get going. So do I have a motion? I
propose a motion to adopt an additional annual pass option, single rate of $4,500 plus the going heart rate as you go for a maximum of 65 pass holders at this rate, up from 50.
I second it.
Okay, open for discussion. Any discussion from the committee? Tom?
Tom?
We'll go to Tom first. Nobody jumped up, or I didn't hear any, or Michael. Or did I say Tom again?
John Jacob.
You know, I can't.
That's okay. It's all right.
You have no idea how he's ingrained in my mind.
Oh, poor guy.
Okay, so Michael, or just MB if you want to go with that.
I'm going to get you a big name.
So my question is, the 65 max, that includes the people that are paying 9,000 and these 45, or we're
65 max annual pass holders
total.
How many ever family members?
Right.
How many ever? And,
Right.
and we always went with that amount.
I'll
explain for your purpose.
Right.
The reason we did that, and here's the thing, we have more than that now, but we did this because we did receive from the board this is one of the things that we were asked to do, was to find additional revenue. So we were asked to do that, as well as increase tee times available for homeowners. So in doing that, in all of this, everything that we've ever done has been geared around doing that. Okay. And part of this is with coming up, knowing that where we wanted our focus, and we're not talking about that now, but where we wanted our focus to be in generating revenue was on public play, and you've talked about that, and we know, you and I have discussed that at great lengths, the huge opportunity that exists there for additional revenue. That's how we get out of the hole we're in, right there. Public play. Okay, and so we didn't want to use pass holders per se to increase the revenues to the club. Now, yes, there's an increased charge, but we thought that was appropriate. But by having an appropriately charged at what we felt was market value, then we could have less number of pass holders, and that way there we could open up additional tee times for homeowners as the homeowners were increasing. So that's why we did that. So
yeah, I just wanted to clarify.
So that's where the 65 is.
Yeah, 65 is grand total. Okay.
Yes, absolutely. So, any other discussion? Well, Campbell, anything?
Have you reviewed the number and the basis for it?
Just one question.
A little bit, not a whole lot.
Here, Campbell's going to talk. We got to be quiet so we can hear.
Yeah, please be quiet. So, those that have paid the 9,000 or the 8,000 now, if they decided that this was a better option for them, can they revert?
Yeah, that was going to come up. So the question is, for those that have signed up,
the six folks,
or the five, or the six, five singles, if they that have paid presumably 8,000, if it's not 9,000, whatever the amount that they paid, can they revert and go to this option?
Yes. Before the new year.
Is that the consensus?
I think so.
I think so.
I just thought I believe so as well.
Why do we care?
It doesn't matter. The numbers will work. It should be allowed if that's what they want to do.
So can we now do a poll to see who's interested in this?
If you want to.
These are all members. These are all homeowners.
These are not pass holders.
No, I understand.
No, I know,
They
but-
still have an opinion.
Sure. If you want to.
I would like to. Who in the room, just again, rudimentary, show of hands, who is interested in what we're talking about? 40 as an option for an annual pass holder, 4,500 plus 29 per card. If you think that's a decent thing for us to consider, please raise your hand.
We're losing too many friends in the community.
Who is in disagreement with it? Please raise your hand.
with the dollar amount, not with the idea.
Okay.
Is this a competitive rate?
Thank you.
That's my question I have. Can I ask a question?
Sure, Sharon, go ahead.
Okay, so looking at this, I'm fairly new to the community and we were looking to buy a trail cart. So just an example, a couple could have a trail cart, but in your trail fee in 2023 for, was it 2,900 something?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so as a homeowner, we pay taxes and we pay HOA. And then you're offering $4,500 for somebody that pays no taxes and no HOA? I think it's too low. And everybody was questioning, why did you go from like the 3,000 to the 8,000? Because the outside should be paying significantly more. I don't care what it was before. Everybody in the golf community is saying, well, they're friends, they're buddies. They don't live here. They don't pay the HOA. They don't pay the taxes. They don't get the privilege that the rest of us get. And so there was a discrepancy completely before of the cost between all the trail fees, the single, the doubles, and all this. I understand you coming up with this. I think it could be a little bit higher. I don't think if I'm two singles paying trail fees, it's gonna be 3,500, and you're gonna allow somebody that doesn't live here, doesn't pay any.
They're gonna pay for tax.
They gotta pay
$29.
This is carts on top.
And cart fee
So
on
they have
top.
cards. So if somebody plays 100 rounds, they'll be paying $7,400 for the year.
Okay.
Twice a week.
If they play twice a week, they'll be paying $7,400 for the year.
Benchmarking.
We're paying $700 a month for, a minimum, $700 a month for HOA fees.
I'm sorry.
How much of the HOA fee?
I'll get you, Marilyn, I promise. How much what?
17%.
Not very much.
17%.
No.
17% of our HOA goes to golf operations.
It's a plug.
$65.
Currently.
17%.
Yeah, they're about.
It's a plug.
$945,000. Is it benchmarking?
So, okay.
Net the
That's
cost of running our golf courses, $3.3 million a year.
You're correct.
That's the cost of running our golf course.
So
Do the math, that's
So
it.
that-
Is it? I thought it
That
was 2.6, but okay.
700,000 for public play, $500,000 for carts, about 400,000 for annual pass holders, and 350 for trail fees.
So,
Not that high,
so
Marilyn.
what we're trying to do is we've heard,
not.
from my perspective, we've heard the community at large. I've seen two town hall, two budget meetings, the Monday meeting, and everybody says we've lost all the pass holders. We're very concerned. We're not making any money. So what this proposal will do, for one, is you don't have to come up with $8,000 or $9,000 right up front at January. You only have to have half of that, and then you pay as you go. Now, you still might golf the same amount, and it might end up the same amount for the community at the end. But I think I think our pass holders, our pass holders we have now, will look at this in a much more favorable rate. Many people have asked our pass holders. They knew that they were getting a discount, and people have asked them. So, what do you think would be the right rate? Where do you think the sweet spot is? And they all said somewhere between 4K and 4.5K. Plus cart. They were paying last year, what, $2,500 at a discount rate.
That was the renewal rate.
Plus their cart fee. So $5,700 last year if they got a cart. This is $4,500 and you pay as you go. And basically you're deferring some of that cost out through the year because you're paying as a cart fee.
I think one of the beef they had to, you guys can call them, pass holders. I think you guys should change the terminology to members.
Yeah.
Because they are very upset.
I agree.
They are very upset because
They
they're
were
not treated
I don't
fairly. They
Annual
pay, I think, it's a membership.
No, it's a
They're
prepaid.
not the members, they
No.
do not pay here, they do not live here, they do not pay the HOAs. I talked to one specifically, and I asked her, I said, why are you leaving? She goes, because I'm not being treated like a homeowner. You're not a homeowner. I said, I pay HOA fees. This person goes, I pay HOA fees too. I said, in your community, then go golf in your community. I'm sorry, I'm agreeing with Sharon.
So
My point is, committee,
I
is this only for this year and next year, we're gonna let them know that it's probably gonna go up?
Well, I don't know.
We won't be here.
What do we mean?
We won't be here. But let me just say one other thing about the HOA. Let me just say one other thing about members versus pass holders. And we, trust me, if I could, we had this discussion early on about members, calling them members versus pass holders. This was very early, back in July, August, for any of you that attended at that time. We had this discussion, all right? We went around and around about this, okay? And looking at what, and our documents actually talk about what members are and expressly talks about them. And it was decided that we shouldn't use that terminology. And I get it, I understand it, I feel, I do, but that's why we didn't do it. The other thing to keep in mind, we don't charge an initiation fee, right? We don't. I know we can't, but we don't. Let's just say we don't. Canada, but we don't. Also, if there's a turf infestation, how much are they going to pay to help cover the $200,000 to fix it? Just zero, right? That's all going to be put on the homeowners. So
One of the things,
there's the thing. So that's the reason. So, but we looked at the documents, we looked at our documents as to what the membership, what membership means. And it wasn't the same with the pass holders. We had this discussion and that's just what we decided. But we did talk about it. We heard it, we felt it, we know it, we understand their feeling. But we really think that there was a good reason for not doing it.
we all know that the fee from last year, the years prior, was way too low, way below market value. And nobody can argue that. So the biggest question is, so what is the right amount? Well, when we sell these passes, we'll know. And right now, we don't believe, my proposal, when I wanted this to relook, is like, I don't know if our goal, our 8,000 or 9,000 is maybe too high. It might be, but if we got it and we'd already met our budget, nobody would be comparing. This room would be empty. This room would be empty if we had already got it. So now we're offering up an additional proposal to meet that need. Now, if I'm trying to figure out, so the community's saying that's still too high? Is that what you're really saying? No. I was like, so and then if we go up to 5,000, it's the same amount. So
And things like Darren, what you said about the turf and the, when I buy an annual pass to Disney, they don't come to me after and say, well, we got turf disease, now we got to come after you for that. I mean, when you charge a fee to play at a place, that's your fee. Like, I mean, sure, or something breaks here, you can't go to our annual pass holder and say, hey, you guys got to pitch in on that. Disney or any other place doesn't do that, and you guys can't talk about it.
But this is our golf course. That's different. This is our golf course.
I would like to stay focused on the agenda.
Hold on, everybody, please, just a second. Marilyn's been chomping at the bit here.
We should call a pass holder.
Just wait, let's let Marilyn have the floor for a second. She's been trying here.
Because I think previously we were asked to decouple the cart fee and it was a no, so I think it's great to give them.
Yeah.
And I'll commend you for that. I think what I would suggest is when you do your proposal to the board, I will assume that there is some data or information that supports your 45, other than just the increase in the HOA rates. It compares to some other golf course that's something similar to ours or whatever. But I commend you for doing it. Everything, I mean, I'm doing it all the other way, so we gotta try something different. So thank you for the opportunity. And I think Michael should be the one that reviews it or even starts it, such that he can support it, because he needs to run the operation based on whatever.
Absolutely, and we'll always get Michael's input, or when we get head pro, we always do that. Always consult with them.
provide data other than a number out of the air.
Well, it's not a number out of the air. We've already done a lot of comparables. So we have a lot of comparables already that are much higher than that 4,500. And we have some that have cart fees as well that are much higher than that 4,500. So perceivably, we're already coming in under. But one of the comparables is that it is an increase over something that has an increase. And I think that needs to be taken into account. That's happening. So,
is there, we've had discussion.
We've had a second. We've had a second. Any other discussion? Okay, Campbell, do you have anything else?
No, I don't. So what I would say is whoever is F or FT needs to mute themselves because a lot of people can't hear you because of that.
What did he say? I didn't
I'm going to go back to the meeting, but I'm listening to the golf movie. Chef salad, no onions and no ham, please.
Listen, turn your mic off.
Black, what do I normally get? Black, blackened salmon on the side.
We do.
And then beef empanadas as an appetizer.
I don't see the multiple screen, and that would let us move.
Thank you.
Okay, just talk real loud, Campbell. We'll hear you.
Oh, this is going to, yeah, it's going to be a go.
Go ahead and talk loud, Campbell.
Nope. Here's the thing. For me, I think it works. I think what we need to do is we need to give the board the option, let them decide what works best.
Okay, so he said for him it works. We need to give the board the option and let them decide. So
we'll present that motion to the board.
So we got to vote. So we've got a motion. We have a second. So we're going to vote. The motion is usually. Did you write it down?
What's written down right here?
Yes.
It pretty much is. Write down what you have down because that'll be in the notes.
We propose an additional option for annual pass holders of $4,500 plus the current going cart rate.
For a maximum of 65.
For a maximum of 65.
Okay.
Up
right.
From 50.
Good. All right. So that's the motion that's on the floor for a recommendation to the board. Correct. All those in favor, raise your hand. So Campbell, you can see Campbell. Campbell's good. Aye. Okay. Motion carries. Everybody's.
I'm going to abstain.
She's abstaining. Okay. 5 and 1 abstain. Motion passes. So we'll be taking that to the board, and we will ask the board. I will go and make a request to the board to see if they can have a special meeting, if they want to try to get this in place, if they have an appetite to get this in place before the next board meeting.
Circulate the memo.
I know. Yeah, I know there's a way to do it. I know, we've done it, so.
Can we just kill this next option altogether? This inspected golf cart option?
We'll go ahead and bring that up. I mean, this was something we tabled at the last golf committee meeting, and I was asked to bring it up. So,
sure. Yeah, I remember. I was there.
So, but we can take we'll take your point into consideration. So the next item up on the agenda is inspected cart program option and to use the cart. So if whereas before we had, if there was a trail fee, which we passed at the recommendation and the board passed, was if there's a trail fee in the home for $1,750 that someone else in that home could use that inspected cart at the $29 rate instead of having to use a rental cart. That's been passed. What this option is that we tabled was if there is not a trail fee on that cart already, can they just use it for $29 without, so use the cart, it's pay as you go, $29 essentially. Michael has a point on that and wants to ask.
Yes, so I will ask it as a question instead of as a statement.
Okay. If
you do this, then why would anyone pay a trail fee?
Yeah.
Right. People play.
Pretty simple. Well, you would have 300 golf carts in this community that could all go out on that golf course anytime they want and pay $29.
Well, we could also.
Why would you do it?
We could.
If you don't have a trail fee paid, you cannot.
There are members that play 200 rounds.
You can rent the cart for $29.
Correct. No, this is private cart.
It doesn't matter, what's the difference? I'm paying $29.
That was not allowed previously,
I
Rich.
know, it wasn't.
Yeah.
I know, what I'm trying to say is, but if people are golfing, they can come up and pay $29 without a trail fee and pay $29 for a cart.
And rent one of our carts.
Right.
Yes.
So what is the difference of, I still give you the $29?
No wear and tear on your.
No wear and tear, no electric, no nothing coming from us.
No
And
wear
I
and
use
tear.
my own cart.
Understood. You're looking at wear and tear on the golf carts that belong to us. You're not looking at 300 golf carts on the golf course tearing up the golf course.
I think what,
And we need to make.
Which is way more
I
expensive.
think we confused. I think what you're trying to say is,
That's
so
$29.
if she's a member, she doesn't have a golf cart, and he does, or you're a member, and she goes over there and pay $29. So he has a registered golf cart, and she's a member too, she's in the deed
Yeah, but
property. So she can go in there and pay only $29 and just use his golf cart, not anyone else, only people that are on the.
right, and that's the way it is now. What this is saying is you can use your private golf cart that you have not paid a trail fee on, right, and pay $29.
Right.
Absolutely not.
If you have a trail fee, you don't have to.
Why would you pay a trail fee?
Why would I ever pay you a trail fee?
I'll tell you, you don't have to pay $29.
Simple math.
You can pay for free for the whole year.
Simple math. I'll tell you why. We have guys that play 200 rounds a year.
Okay, we got way too many conversations going. Whoa.
Sounds like you shut it down.
Yeah, well.
But you remember when I was talking about a moment ago, and that maybe this is needing to be refreshed. Having a private cart on any golf course is a privilege that needs to be limited to the numbers of golf carts that are out there. If you so choose to have a private golf cart, you pay for it, there's a trail fee, that's the way it is. That's the cost of doing business. If you don't think that's worthwhile because you don't, as you said, sir, don't play enough golf to justify those costs, then you don't, and you pay as you go and you ride one of our carts.
And you pair up.
In any case, we're making money.
Yeah.
Right? The golf cart is a convenience to you. Having a private cart is a convenience to you because you can drive around the community. You can do other things besides golf.
Okay, but if three of us are out there on our private carts and the fourth person owns his own cart, decides not to use it, still pays $29 and grabs one of your carts. You still got 4 carts out there. You still got the same wear and tear.
That needs to come to a halt.
But that's what, okay, so you're talking about revamping the whole system. We're only talking this one line and this one instance.
He's not on board.
Well, that's where the confusion is.
Yeah.
You don't want more than 2 carts on any tee time.
On any portion.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's something that has to go through a change. Because that is different than what we do.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a policy.
Okay, so we're gonna, so we, all right, we're cruising. Okay, Gary's got a question. He doesn't right along.
Charge $200, $300 upfront, and then that person can use their card, they have to pay $29 whenever they play. You'll raise money that way. If somebody doesn't play, maybe somebody plays 12 times a year. So they're gonna pay the $200, and then every time they play, they can use their card.
Well, I can tell you, I have done some analysis on this. Okay, now it's on our data that we know has issues, right? But I have done some analysis on it. And we do have people, when I look at the whole year for 2022, we have a number of people that pay a trail fee and say they will play between 20 and 60 rounds. Now 60 is our break-even point at 1750, okay? And there's a number of people that do play between 20 and 60 rounds, all right? But they still buy a trail fee because they want the privilege of driving their own cart. So they pay it. Now, if we were to go to something like this, we're going to lose those people. And granted, there's issues with the data. But when I look at that, I've crunched some numbers, okay, just on those. And I didn't go to the people below 20 rounds because that could be, but just looking at that data, so you go 1750, $29 a round, and how much less than 1750 would that bring in? Okay? And it came to $38,000 that the club would lose. So there is a potential cost, a loss, a potential revenue loss. I'm just saying a potential revenue loss from this, whether it's 38 or 28 or 20, but there is, and it does appear that it could be pretty significant because people will, I can tell you if I only played 40 times, I would still pay it because I want the privilege of having my own card. It's just a privilege. And
a loss of upfront income for the people that are going to play the 3,500.
So here's the thing about that, and I'll say this. So the upfront. So one of the things that we have been doing, granted, is everything has been operated here since turnover and before turnover and since turnover to get this upfront cash. When pass holders were first put in place, it's my understanding, people, and Scott, you were here at turnover, so maybe you can help with this. I wasn't. Well, I was, but I wasn't on the golf committee. I wasn't that plugged in yet. So, but there was a cash grab, right? They wanted cash, that there was revenue. Is that right, Marilyn?
That's exactly right.
Okay.
At turnover,
Okay.
Lennar didn't leave us with extra money.
Right. So
as a board decision, we had about 400,000, and Neil can jump in here. We had about 400,000 from Lennar that we had, as a board, left to leave it alone as much as and as long as possible for cash flow purposes. In addition, there was some other things, but we wanted the money up front because there was expenses coming in February, like insurance. I think there was mulch and a few other expenses, so we needed the cash up front. And at that time, we had not arranged for any line of credit for the board to pull upon. So that is the reason behind it. And it's only 2 years later, we've actually only just started to dip into the 400,000 that Lennar left us.
Okay.
So they took the cash before they left.
Right. Okay. So thank you. So to that point, that's why there was this revenue generation. They needed the money quick, right? What we believed that we needed to do, and that's why as a committee, it's time at some point we need to start getting away from that. We have to sell all of our annual passes and we have to sell all of our trail fees by December 31st to have all that upfront money for the next year. We have to move on from that. We have to get to a point where we're selling an annual pass membership, if you will, whatever you want to call it. We're selling a trail fee. It's for a year from when you buy it. You move in here in July and you want to buy a trail fee, that trail fee is going to go from July 1 to June 30th, right? Same thing with annual passes. That's what we need to do to get that revenue so that it's not upfront cash, and we'll be much better positioned financially if we operate that way going forward. And that's where we want to move with this, including the annual passes. So the fact that we don't have all the annual passes at 1/1, I agree.
The challenge with that approach is that we do have some big numbers to pay in the early parts of the year, like the insurance, which will be over $300,000. So the reason for the purely the cash flow was because we don't get the HOA assessments, that's on a month-by-month basis.
Mm-hmm.
So we're not getting all of that money to cover those big chunky payments early in the year. So that's why it was done that way.
I completely understand and support why it was done that way. I don't disagree with it at all. I'm just saying at some point, I think we need to move on from that. And that's what we're trying to do now, is to kind of move on from that, to kind of grow up from that a little bit. We will. And the other thing is
we don't have the controls in place to have the cutoff because the system has not been set up properly to have the expiry of memberships and all that stuff.
And we do now with the new point of sale. So that, well,
assuming it's set up right.
Right.
Yes.
I've been doing this all along, Marilyn, with that new point of sale. I know.
I think the other one had it.
But that's our goal. Okay, but that's our goal. That's what we want to have. And then we move away from that. And the other thing is keep in mind, you heard earlier that we have a new marketing budget. It was $10,000 this last year. 10,000. Okay, it's gone to 75, maybe 100. Okay, but at least in the budget, $75,000, 750% increase. Okay, but here's the thing. That budget is to go to sell public play, but it's also to go to sell annual passes, right? Trail fee, everything, right? So we've got an annual budget in 2024 that begins on January 1st, right? $75,000 to sell these things. Yet the expectation has always been, you have to sell them all by 12/31 the year before. How do we do that? We don't have a marketing budget to do that. It's very, very, very hard, okay, to try to do that. So that's why we need to get to that point where once it's in the point of sale system, we can go year to year with annual passes and with trail fees and operate in that manner. And that's what most courses do anyway.
Can I just ask you a
So,
question?
We got one.
One more question. I don't know if the system will allow it. I know it's too late for this year, but I think based on what you've been telling me about what you've been telling us, and to be fair with people that pay 6,000 rounds, 600 rounds or 300 rounds for the whole year, and they pay 1,750. I think you guys might be looking at a tier system next year. If you play X amount of rounds, different prices based on tier system. Maybe you play up to 120 rounds a year, you pay this amount, 250 rounds a year, this amount, something like that. But you guys, make a market analysis, make a study, whatever you guys, and different prices for people that may play more, play less, like Ken. They only play once a week. He can use his card, so I don't know, something like that.
It could be that next year's committee can do that. Absolutely. It can come up. I would suggest, and we can make notes of this. Would you mind putting just a tier system for that? And we can leave that for the future committee as a note, as a consideration. But when it comes time early, I suggest everybody, a lot of these decisions are starting to be made in July and August because you got to get ready for the next year. So I encourage you, rather than wait until after the decisions are made and then come early and be part of these discussions as opposed to waiting until afterward, because then we have the situation that we have now.
But based on that comment and the comment that she made, it's not that we don't care.
I know.
We care, but we care.
I agree.
The thing is that things are becoming more transparent now.
Yes.
So we have the information to swallow the information to make decisions. So now that we care, we always have cared. Now that we have the information, we can come to these meetings. Because I've been in the last 3 meetings here. So it's not that we don't care. It's not that we didn't have the information.
I don't.
Now we have the information.
I don't.
For that, we thank you as being transparent. We thank you about that because you guys are doing great on that.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. And we talked about stuff, whatever information we had, we talked about it back in July and August too. So, but I understand, appreciate that. And I know everybody cares. It's very clear that everybody cares. That's why they're here, right? So.
I have a question for you, actually. So you've been talking about trail fees, and you're saying it's a privilege to have your own cart and take it on the course. So we have a rate of $1,750 per person for your cart.
Right.
And you're saying you want to limit the number of people that have carts. Can you expand on that a bit more? Are you talking about increasing the price?
Yeah.
Or what do you, yes?
I'm saying create a supply and demand situation where you don't continue to allow as many golf carts, private carts on the golf course as you have now. Then you can drive the price to whatever you want it to be.
So how many carts would you say?
You just have to figure it out. You have to decide what is the number that makes sense.
So what do you tell, just let me finish. Can I just ask one more?
Right.
So what do you tell some of these homeowners that have purchased a cart that they're not going to be able to use that cart going forward?
If you made that decision, if you finally got to the point of making that decision, it would be a policy change to say, yeah, we're going to allow this many carts, or we're going to grandfather it in at what it is right now. We're going to say it's never going to be more than this number. If we have 200, or if that's it, let's just use a ballpark figures or round figures. If it's 200, then it's never going to be more than 200.
So if you have a person that moves in midway through the
You
year.
have to wait for somebody to drop their trail fee to get one. You create a waiting list. And when you create a waiting list for membership into a club, or the benefits of private carts, or some clubs you join and they don't even have a locker for you because they don't have enough lockers. So again, when the supply doesn't equal the demand, price goes up.
Okay, so we're.
So hang on.
Terry had a question.
And then Mark. Terry, then Mark.
A serial entrepreneur, and I have a great money-making idea. We have an annual golf cart auction. So you bid on your trail fee, limited to the first 150, it'll raise a ton of money. I'll be the first bidder.
I love it. I'm with you 100%.
Hang on. Mark at the back, Mark.
All right, here, hold on. We're gonna take two more questions, one here and one back there, and two more statements, questions, and then we're gonna move on.
Mark.
Okay, we gotta move forward.
Mark.
I think allowing, from my point of view, I think allowing the homeowners to pay the $29 and use their own card sort of follows you. It's a privilege. You're going to grandfather people in. But it also recognizes that for the Canadians, they can't be here only 6 months a year. And for people out of state that are probably 6 months or less, that recognizes the investment they've made in a golf cart and the changes to the golf fees that you pay, a lot of them will be priced out. And you're giving them an opportunity to actually use the asset that they purchased. So I think it's a good idea.
So one of the things, if I can piggyback on one of your ideas that you had at one of our meetings, because you've been to all of our meetings, you talked about doing a monthly rate for your cart. So for example, if we charged, say, $200 a month, you could purchase specific months that you wanted. So if you were a Canadian, like what you're saying, and you're only here, say, October to April.
What if I was from Boston or
whatever, up north, whatever.
Months, yeah.
Just throwing an idea out here. This is not a motion or anything. But is it feasible to do what you said, which is a monthly amount, and people pick their number of months that they want? If you're seasonal, it might appeal to you. It could be a lower amount in the summer to attract, homeowners to play more in the summer. I don't know, when there's more tee times. And then piggyback on that, if you don't have your own card, but you want to use one of our cards, could it be a monthly fee plus a premium for a rental card?
Or how would you monitor that?
I don't know.
That's the hard part.
And you know what, Joe? A lot of the things that we talked about in this committee was the lack of controls that were in place previously. And how do you implement? Because it's one thing for us in this room. It's one thing for us in this room to say, hey, what about this? But then there's the implementation, and then there's the controls, and then there's how do we monitor that and analyze that? So I'm just throwing it out there because I know the 1750 is sensitive for a lot of people, and I know we got rid of the seasonal, and I know we got rid of the family.
So maybe we should get Mike to do his review, come up with some best practices and come up with his recommendation, because he's going to deal with the wear and tear.
He's been doing it for 40 years.
Yeah.
He knows.
And I would say that is something that could move forward. That's something that could move forward. I don't know if it'd be now or next year.
That should be stuff that he just goes directly to the board about, because he's got a P&L to deal with, and he needs to deliver on that, and whatever he needs to deliver on that needs to be just dealt with by the board, because they deal with the project.
If they want to do that and take that, they've never done it in the past. If that's what he wants,
that would be
that's
great.
how he wants to do it, I would be fine with it.
The board has always dealt with financial stuff.
Oh, the board has. No, I'm saying FSR.
For sure, yes,
To this point,
that's right.
they haven't.
Because they were told what to do.
So can I
Wait on
ask,
it.
does that appeal to anybody? Does that sound appealing to anybody, to a monthly fee?
I don't, see, again, just like Michael said before.
Hold on.
If you start offering monthly or segmented rates for a trail fee, your supply and demand is going to be completely out of whack.
So,
because you're not going to have, nobody's going to ever go to the 1750 if they can pick and choose.
Rich, hold on.
Okay,
So,
Rich, yeah, hold on. Please.
so, I mean, again, if we're gonna debate what the right trail fee amount is, then I would say throw it over to Michael as a pro and let him make a recommendation. What is the right amount? And let's move forward, because we've spent way too much brainpower on this thing, and really we're for families, we're talking about a couple $100, and we've already.
And I would say, yeah, go ahead and do that. I'm fine with that. So are we at the point where we want to table this or table it, let Michael go back and see what he comes up with?
Yes.
And then move forward at that point, whether it be this year or subsequent year, get ready for the next year, whatever. But we can talk about that. Let him throw that, another thing on his plate. Your plate's starting to look like Thanksgiving.
Yeah, you okay with us just overloading the plate?
Hang
on a sec.
We're moving on.
Let's let Mark speak.
The original motion here, but the proposal.
We haven't made a motion yet.
Or the discussion was to allow cart owners that weren't renewing on their trail fee program to use their cart fee for the price of $29.
Right.
That's what started all of this.
Correct. Yep.
So then we've gone down, we're gonna do this and that.
We have.
I'm not gonna do that.
Well, we are, but Michael started off on there. I got it right, Michael.
You said no.
And he said no. And no, he did. And he wants to look at it as he wants to go a different route. And so we're going to let him do that.
Okay, so he made one distinction there though, and it's an important one. He said we would grandfather people in, and that would recognize the investment that they made already under like seasonal trail fees last year. The board has changed, I get it, but there's a lot of people that have invested.
Oh, I agree. And that may be,
Grandfathered in.
but let's let him go back.
There's nothing now that stops me from doing.
No, but he may very well bring that as part of his proposal. Let's let him see what he comes
But
up with.
I would say that is currently not allowed. If you don't have a trail fee, you cannot use your own private cart on the course.
Right. And when I said, just to
Sorry, I'll
clarify,
just interrupt, that's modified, though, you did it last meeting. If you have an existing trail fee, the spouse can use
Yes.
your cart.
Yes.
For the price of $29.
Yes.
Yes.
So once again, you've segmented it already, and you're saying that group's okay because you paid the $17.50.
correct.
But for all of those that you've invested $12,000, we've changed all the rates, we don't have a seasonal cart fee program this year. And good luck to you, you get to park your cart in our parking lot and use one of ours. And I don't get it, because there's no.
Well, we did two things. We didn't say that. We didn't say you have to park your cart. You can still use it, but you have to pay $17.50. So you can do it. It's a choice. It's a choice. And also, we're not saying no to this. We're giving it to Michael to analyze and come up with a plan relative to what he believes carts should go to in the future. That's what we're doing.
But that's the crux of it. So when you come back to the Canadian by law, I can't be here more than 6 months. And the community's full of part-time people that have come down for vacation homes. Paying $3,500 US, $1,750 just doesn't make sense.
Okay, we have discussed that at nauseum in prior meetings. We have addressed that issue. And so I'm sorry, I appreciate the question, but I'm not going to address it any further because we have multiple times. If you didn't hear him, I understand, but we have so many times.
One last comment. When you move to $1,750, you disadvantaged 150 people for the benefit of 75 people. And you say that the committee is here to represent the entire committee. Well, you just disadvantaged 150 people for 75.
No one's
And I think you got to acknowledge that. You did. The numbers show that.
Can I make a comment?
Yes.
I live in the community, I don't play enough golf. I don't pay the trail fee, that's all, simple, it's an option.
Right.
I just don't pay the trail fee, I go along and use their card. I have a card, I have a brand new card, I don't use it. I pay $29, it's an option, yeah.
Right, but
I
then,
don't have to pay the trail fee.
but then when it makes sense to you that you can play enough golf, then you would do it.
Right.
Right. And so it's the same option.
Yeah, go ahead, Mike. No, you go, Mike.
Trying to help us.
Yeah, absolutely. If you've got a comment.
It's the same decision you have to make when you are a 6 month out of the year resident. You still have to make that same decision. When you're, wherever it is you live, at your other home for 6 months. I mean, my parents lived 6 months in Florida and 6 months in the mountains of North Carolina. My dad played golf every day that he possibly could till the day he died. But he still had to pay the trail fees in whatever city he's in. You still pay it 12 months. Because it is what it is.
Right.
That's,
okay.
I mean, just to finish.
When you're looking at this process, you were talking, and I understand what this gentleman's saying.
Oh, I do too. I do too.
But you're saying your real issue is every time there's a tea time, there's 4 carts.
as opposed to 2 carts, whether they're private carts or whether they're carts. It's the number of carts that you put about. When you're doing this appraisal, it'd be good if we could see that you were insisted that the marshals or the hired carts have 2 people in the car. Because the marshals don't do that. There's still full carts going down there every time, whether they're private carts or they're hired carts.
I agree with you.
You're in charge of those people on the marshals. You just say,
Yeah.
put 2 in a car, park it up, you do it. If you bought one of these other cars, I think it was the international I went on. They drove up, people were driving up in hired cars, what, he said, just have to park that over there, sir. There's 2 going in that car.
Yeah.
So you can start to do that tomorrow. These are your people.
Yep.
Yeah, and they're
Okay.
hire cars. You want to reduce the number of cars, you can do that immediately.
All right, we're gonna take one more statement, one more, we're gonna take one more.
I'm going to just encourage Michael, who's looking at this, to recognize the investment a lot of people made under different rules, different pricing, and different seasonal rules that have been completely eliminated. And you make an investment of $12,000. I get you change it, but I think you should be looking at grandfather.
All right, thank you. Okay, so, all right, she's been trying a long time. I agree. One more.
A
All I'm asking
month or 2 ago.
for anybody that does the trail here or whatever, we need to stick to what we've already said, the 1750, hard line in the sand for the 23, the 24 year, and everything else comes in the following year. It doesn't
How's
make
the
any
very
sense.
active players? They got 2 players.
Okay,
Exactly. I mean, my household, we got 2 cars.
Because it was changed already. I hear what you're saying, I get that. But to say you can't change it is crap.
No, I'm
Because it
saying it's
changed already.
December 13th. How much longer are we gonna go, Marilyn?
Till 31st, because no one's got an incentive to pay early.
Well, no one's got an incentive.
We already
You
paid.
can golf however you want to golf and pay
I
for whatever
agree,
you want.
I agree.
Pay the golf
Okay.
trail.
all right, we're gonna move on. Moving on to the agenda, we have.
Move off the switch.
Switching
lines.
What?
Yeah, we talked about switch nines.
I think you should.
We are right now,
Wait to
yes.
see if you're-
Yes, I want to bring this up, yes.
And
Let's
let's
be
just
quick.
keep moving.
We're gonna move on to new business. We have one more item to discuss, please. Quiet, please. Please, stop the discussion. Hey, if I had a gavel,
Hold on.
I'd hit it. Please.
Hold on, everybody. Thanks.
All right, please. All right, so we're going to talk a piece of new business. One of the things that the fundraising machine committee, right, has come up with is one of the things that we want to look at. So we've had our course rated, right? It's been rated. We have 6 tee boxes now, right? The tee signs that are there are no longer valid, right? There's 4 tee boxes there. They're no longer valid. Plus they're getting old. They need to be updated, right? So we've looked at a proposal to do that in the fundraising committee. And what we'd like to do is get new signs, but in addition to new signs, we want, and if I, you probably all can't see this, but I'll hold it up anyway, and hopefully you can. We've obtained some bids, and this is just one, this isn't it, but it's an example. If you can see that, where you see a business advertisement underneath, okay? So we want to get 18 new signs that have a business advertisement underneath. Sponsorship, right? And we would monitor that. We would sell these. We could sell them for 3 years, 5 years, however long we wanted to do it. We would come up with a price, okay, to do this. And we have a bid right now we don't need new posts. They're still good. All right. And they would be similar signs, only they'd be bigger. Because the other thing that we're looking to do in addition to advertisement is, if you saw that, you got the logo on the top. Then you have the picture of the hole, and you have the sign, the T signs. In between there, for the first business, so this is going to drive up the price, the first business that purchases these. In between there, they get to name the hole. It can't be business advertising or anything like that. They could name it. Number 2, I think of all the time, Devil's Gulch or something like that, right? They can pick it. We can put that on the T sign. And so say we sell that first sign, first business advertisement for $3,000, $5,000, whatever. It'll be higher than what the renewal would be. but because they get to name the sign, and that would all be subject to approval. So we could generate a lot of money for the course through fundraising by doing this. Okay, so that's the proposal. As part of the fundraising, the fundraising committee would coordinate that and do that. Okay, and raise that money and then manage that going forward. In addition to that, there's always been a lot of talk, again, about possibly switching the nines. There's this way here, you'd have the 18th hole would be finishing at the clubhouse instead of across the road. In addition to that, you're not going to have back-to-back par fives. You'd start off with a par five. So this is a time that if we're going to go forward with the sign, with new signs, it's also a good opportunity to talk about would we want to switch the nines? Is there a palette for that? And the reason for that is because we're going to order new signs. So we'd have to know what hole number to put on which sign, right? So it's an opportunity for that to happen as part of this discussion, right? As part of the proposal. So let's do the proposal here first, and then we'll open it up for discussion and see where we want to go. Do I have a proposal for switching the nines and ordering new signs accordingly?
Hang on a sec.
Okay.
Well, go ahead.
I would like to hear Michael's opinion.
Okay.
Can we do that?
Sure. Michael's part of the group up here. Yep.
Yeah, that's good. So my first question would be, since I haven't played the golf course, I've only been out there a couple of times. How difficult is that par five? Which one? How long is it?
520.
520. So
that's where he plays it from.
Right, so
it's about, what is it, 4?
So I guess the biggest question is that you've got to ask yourself when you're making a decision like this, your starting hole can't be what you're changing to, can't be a difficult hole, or it'll slow up play.
Well, what is it? Anybody know, have the card?
I can speak about
the current rating, I think it's the 13th hardest hole. I think it's ranked 13.
13?
12 or 13. 12 or 13.
Well, it'd be even on.
Oh, see, that's
par 3 right behind it.
Okay, but it's right in that range.
Yeah.
Because
so it's far from the hardest.
You've got a lot of players that are going to be waiting.
Tennis?
Their second shot, they're waiting.
I don't even stroke on this.
Right?
We probably don't
So
stroke.
now you got 3 groups on that one
Maybe
hole.
we do.
Every time, right?
So Michael, what'll happen is the person will wait and then top it into the Soho.
Oh, yeah.
Take a drop, and then you're 4 anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think you need to take that into consideration, but I'm not the guy making that decision. It's people that are playing the golf course all the time and going, yeah, that could be a problem.
I think it's much more statically pleasing than the French.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
But was there, Darren, was there any other reason to switch it? Just one.
There's been a lot of talk about it.
Yeah.
Just general discussion. Mark.
We are.
We're focusing on changing the.
Well, because we would need to know what the hole numbers are before we buy the sign, so that's why.
First issue, you want advertising on the signs. And from my point of view, we walk a fine line from being a private golf course to a public golf course. If you start putting advertisements on the sign, we're clearly in the camp of going public golf course. No one wants to see advertisements on a golf course, so I don't. This is you pay a lot of money, you want some sort of like semblance of, sophistication, not like Joe's Hamburgers or whatever. Plus, I think it ignores that we just invested in these carts that have all the advertising on the screens. Sell the advertising on the screens. You can change them immediately. Why are we worried about static signs on a golf course? Use the technology and sell that. Everyone has to sit in the cart. They're looking at it for 4 hours.
municipal course.
That is part, that what you just mentioned is part of the marketing plan that Julia's put together and transferred to Michael. I got it right again.
We're talking
But
about putting Joe's Hamburgers on a sign on the first.
And allowing them to name the whole.
Yeah, like, why? Like, it just,
it's just an opportunity to raise funds for the beautification of the course. That's what we came up with. It's an opportunity to raise money.
We're clearly public realm.
Yeah, I'm just gonna make a statement. One of the clubs that Mark and I used to belong to in Omaha had poll sponsored, the first tee said sponsored by Mark and Jackie Roseland.
Yeah.
And we gave the money to have our name on that. And, he used to have one, for the Roseland family. But I mean, that's something else that looks nice because it's part of the people that if you want to do it. But I agree, not crazy about it.
So you're saying us homeowners could name a sign?
You could have a
But don't
sign
open it up to
this,
public.
yeah.
You could pay for it, buy it. It absolutely
Right.
could. Absolutely. A homeowner could do it.
Yeah.
But maybe just limit it to that.
We could. We could.
Naming the flower bed, adopt this flower bed.
Well, it's just an option. It's something that was brought up as an opportunity for raising funds.
I don't.
Well, there is no motion yet. Okay, quiet, let's go. Come on, whoa. Please. Okay, there is no motion on the floor yet to do this. And I just want to point one other thing out, that eventually this has got to be done.
Yeah.
Right? So this was an opportunity to have it paid for out of a fundraising effort instead of the club paying for it. We don't do this, the club's going to end up paying for it because it's got to be done. So that's a consideration, right? And it's an opportunity to raise additional funds. But if there's no stomach for that, if the committee doesn't want it, it would be.
How much is a sign? How much is a sign?
Oh, the bid for the sign, for 18 signs with everything that we had, including the sign underneath, would be $15,210.
And without the sign underneath, it's just one sign.
$11,700.
$4,000, I say, without ever.
So
Exactly.
that's the thought. So it was just, and that's what it would cost. The advertising could raise potentially, I mean, we could have potentially raised $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, $60,000.
Advertising in the golf carts.
But
Hello?
that could very well happen. Campbell's got a comment. Yay, Campbell, we hear you.
So here's the thing, this would be a great opportunity for us to put this out to the golfing community in a survey. To ask them.
I'll repeat it in 1 second.
Okay, go ahead.
So what Campbell just asked is this would be a great opportunity to put it out to the community to see what they thought about this idea.
Instead of us in this room deciding it. All right, so we will, so are we?
Well, wait a minute, can we just do a rudimentary poll again, since I like doing this? How many people in the room like the idea of advertising on the sign? Put your hand up. How many people dislike the idea of advertising on the sign? Okay, there you go.
Can I say something real quick? I think one of the problems, can I say something real quick?
Yes.
I think one of the problems we have at this place is a lot of people don't know who we are. Okay, because you have Championsgate Golf Club, you have the International Course, National Course, then you have Championsgate Country Club. And, a lot of people, I don't disagree with this, but I don't know if I agree with this either, is nobody knows who we are. We don't really have an identity here.
Right.
At times, I'm like, I'm not saying to do this, should we rename the course? How do we separate ourselves from the Omni so when we market, people don't think we're the Omni? And I think that's a problem we have. I think we have to identify ourselves somehow and not be involved with the Omni, because people get confused. They come here to buy houses. We've lost deals. People thought they get all 3 courses for $700 a month. Hey, you find that, let me know. But I think if we don't separate ourselves from them somehow, some way, to identify our course being separate from them, I think it's going to be difficult for us to market our properties to be.
I would be wrong.
Agreed. I can tell you, and I can speak for Julie. Do you want to say something about what you've done in that regard? Because you have.
What do you mean?
Yeah.
Well, relative to, it was on Golf Now, where the very first thing, until we changed it for years before we did anything, Golf Now, first thing they did was advertise our neighbor on our course.
Yeah, our
Yeah,
first listing, they talk about Championsgate National.
But Lennar created Championsgate. So when you say Championsgate, people think, so
Rita.
I agree with Rita.
Oh, I do too.
But I agree with them. There has to be some way that we can.
Oh, I agree.
But not too far.
I agree.
There has to be some.
I agree.
Analysis.
I agree.
I guess.
But that's a little different than this and the advertising. So I think where we're at with this is the decision is to we can come up. What we will do, what I'm proposing now is that we table this for now, no hurry with it, and that we come up with some type of a poll, that we poll the community on how the golf, how they would like to do the signs going forward.
The only concern is, if you send out a poll to 937 homes, and we have one designer for our community that actually use it, they'll say, hey, you're gonna get money, great. Like, take the buck.
It doesn't matter. All 900 homes are members of the country club. And that's what's misunderstanding in this whole situation. Everybody gets a say. And anything that happens with the golf course should be communicated to all 900 homes. And it has never been, and it needs to start.
And you have to explain the strategic layer, saying, we do this, we're taking it to the realm of a public golf course, and that just opens up all kinds of things.
Well, they're not.
Sell every tee time. Sell them all, like everyone should pay. If you're going to ask, what should we turn this into a public golf course? If you put that out to a member vote or a house vope,
They'd say yes.
They definitely say yes. Absolutely they would.
So, okay, all right, so.
But I think it has been communicated, just we have so many snowbird out there that it has been through email, that they don't even.
Well, then that's their problem.
So that's one of the issues that we have had, it's really hard.
There are several channels. Can marketers speak for a minute? There's a couple of things. There are several channels to do polls. And you consolidate. There's social media. We've got resident-only sites, a couple of them. We've got email. And we've got
Golf
several
Genius, yeah.
email platforms. Golf Genius and the ones that managed by.
Connect.
So you can cover it that way. Super
Connect,
channels. And then there are non-digital, the digital marketer speaks of. There are non-digital ways. Put up a sign. People at the plaza, people at the golf course, people at the North Pool. Put the sign. So use all your channels. And then you don't really have an excuse for, I didn't know. Right. When you get as many channels as you should. And Mr. Cornwell, we should not change the name, but we should come up with, almost as important as a mission statement, what's our brand position? Where are we in the market? What are we? Who are we? We need to do that. We need to do it.
Can we move on so some of us can have public forum?
We do need to move on. We do need to move on. So we've already decided, we're going to close this down. We're closing it down. We've had enough comments. We've had enough comments. No, I know. So we're moving on. This has been tabled. At some point, we will address this. We will come out with something. So, no, we don't have, I don't think we have any specific subcommittee reports. We don't need to do that. So we're going to open it up real quick for public forum. Is there anything that hasn't been discussed?
Half hour max.
Absolutely, half hour max, 3 minutes each. 3 minutes each.
I thought you were doing a presentation.
Yeah, when's your presentation?
All right, I will address that. I'm going to address that right now, all right? And I've talked about this. So, the presentation is not going to happen, and I'm going to tell you why. Okay? Since the board meeting, I have personally, as have other people on this committee, been approached and experienced some very negative, very nasty, very personal attacks relative to the work that we've been doing, the things we've discussed here tonight. It's been very disturbing as to what's taken place. All right? And this effort, the thing that I was going to put forth, this presentation, I did it on my own, out of trying to be as we did all of this stuff prior and not everybody could attend, it was just an opportunity for me. I was trying, just like I did the pass holder meeting, just like we've done with other things. I was just taking the time to try to be open and communicate everything so everybody would have an understanding. And the things that have been said over the last 2 days and approach to us personally have been, as I said, very, very disturbing. And so it's very clear that there's a number of people out there who don't appreciate the work that we've done, the efforts that we put in, and relative to this. And at that point, I decided I'm not going to put forth my extra effort anymore. I will continue to operate the golf committee, and I will serve to the end of my term. I will do that and all of this. But the things that have been said to us over the last 2 days, and it's come from members and pass holders, talk to your friends, whatever, it's very disheartening. Okay? And so I'm just not going to do the presentation. I want to point that out, and that's why. Okay?
We appreciate everything that's
So-
on the golf.
So,
Aaron, there's also language in the governing documents. If people behave that way towards you, you need to report it because that's unacceptable.
I know. We have even had comments that have popped up, not personal comments, but when we've done advertising and paid advertising for stuff, negative comments from members as well as pass holders have come up on that advertising on Facebook, and we've taken those down, but they're hitting that.
There's an avenue.
So there's negative stuff. And so I understand that and all of that, but we can accomplish what we need to accomplish by continuing with the golf committee meetings and all of that, but just not going to go down that avenue of taking all that extra effort I've been putting in, trying to explain these things. And it's just, I'm sorry, it's just not worth it with the things that I've heard and had been party to.
And if I could add to that.
And so that's why I'm not going to give the presentation.
I want to add something to that too. There's been a lot of interest in the golf committee meetings here. I would strongly encourage each and every one of you to volunteer, to sit on this side of the table, to engage yourself. With that said, some of the comments, and I will say one of the comments that has been said to us, you knew what you were getting into when you took this role. I could have never imagined the personal attacks on me, my family, these other individuals up here. We are all volunteers. We are trying to make this place better. And it's just unacceptable. It really, really is.
Could we end the meeting, or at what point do we open up to public forum?
So we can go to public forum right now.
Okay.
I'm not going to take any questions on what's been said, on what we've done.
I was intrigued by you when you read the charts. You said you talked about the financial management. I can't remember the exact words that were involved in the charts of the golf course. When I was looking through the numbers, well, I guess I was intrigued by the fact that the golf and the pro
Can you come up to the mic so we can hear you?
this year,
Can you come up there? They're asking if we should have been doing something. Can you come up to the mic and talk in here during the open forum? People want to be able to hear. So whoever wants to talk, please.
That's okay. That's a big decision. Don't put it down.
Watch her.
I was intrigued by the comments.
Quiet, please. Quiet back there, please.
Intrigued by the comments in the charter that said that the golf committee were involved in overviewing the financial management of the operations. I just was also looking through the accounts, saw that the budget for the golf committee and pro shop for this year jumped 20%, of which half seemed to be increases in salary and half seemed to be increases in repair. I just wonder how much time you've got to look at that type of or who is looking at that? I mean, it was a big
Question
jump.
for the treasurer.
I would give that to the treasurer.
Well,
The-
you're talking about the budget for 2024.
Yeah, over
The
23,
golf committee-
over what I consider 23's out term.
Let me answer that. Let me say one thing quick and then you can answer. The golf committee was not involved in setting the budget at all.
No, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's Alan Westerman, who sits on the board as the treasurer.
There's a detailed
Yeah,
individuals that make up that number.
yeah. And I'm
But
sure-
we spent a lot of time talking about revenue. There's two ways of making it happen. You can either get the revenue, you can get the numbers down. There's a big number floating about in the costs.
Sharon, come on up to the mic.
Sharon, come on up to the mic. You're next.
Your turn.
Finally.
Finally.
I want to say first, thank you all. I have been on a board of an HOA and I have personally been attacked as well. So I understand that it's insane that people do that, but I have had it happen. So much so that this guy harassed me for years and we go to move out. The day we move out, he goes to my husband and tells my husband he's sorry. Still didn't even come to me. Crazy. But anyway, I digress. I appreciate everything you do. First off, my first big question is, I'm fairly new. Are we a private golf course? I've read our docs. As homeowners, we're all members. But how are we defined in the docs or in other documents after, subsequent documents? We are not a truly private course.
No.
We're semi-private.
We're semi-private.
Okay, thank
We've
you.
always been semi-private.
So then my next question is, so I agree that we definitely need to look at public play. My understanding is we have these leagues. So I would like kind of this question maybe to you. On a course like this, I know we have a men's league, a women's league, and a couples league. And that's a fairly standard.
Standard.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then the contention comes into this nonprofit league that's on a Saturday morning. And that's the huge contention that I know everybody talks about. So my question is, as a homeowner who would like to, one, give up public play because that's where we can get our money on a Saturday. Two, want to have playtime. Why does that group get your ear and any more say-so on those tee times than I do as an individual homeowner? That's a question I have. And I've heard, you read from the grapevine and you hear from the grapevine that the point is these leagues, these separate leagues have been playing forever. And they comment, well, we do things for the community. That's great. And I think just because that happened in the past doesn't mean it should happen in the future. When everything was even flow, that worked out. Now we're moving to the future and that needs, we need to make money. And I just don't this is not a retirement community. These leagues during the week, which makes sense, are retired people.
And what's wrong with that?
There's nothing wrong with that, but I feel like all the decisions
We retired here. We moved from Omaha. We retired here.
Right.
I can play golf every day of the week if I want to. I make tee times if I'm not playing in the league, and you can make those 2 weeks out.
Right.
So you can get a tee time.
No, that's not what I was referring to. I'm saying is the decisions of the golf course have been made by the people in the leagues. And the reason I say that is because we moved in here and you could not look on a website. And I don't know how much you were involved, but he's seen my emails. I spent 1 month trying to get set up in this community. He spent a month trying to get set up in this community. That should never occur. And every time I asked somebody, they said, go to the golf club and talk to them. And so everybody that's been here for 5-6 years is in the know. But trying to be a new person coming in, we didn't even know where to go get golf, tee times at first. So that was part of the communication. But everybody's a homeowner and a member, and every household should get a say-so in what happens with our public/private playtime. Not one group of 60 people that maybe make some money for beautification, that everybody should have a say-so. And that's just what, but I appreciate, and that has nothing to do with you guys in the committee.
I completely understand.
I understand.
Completely
It's
understand.
way more than 100, way more than 60.
Yeah.
But let me just make a couple of comments to that. I completely understand and appreciate where you're
Yeah,
coming
but I
from.
mean, I'm not
understood.
saying anything to
I know,
us, the
I know,
committees.
I know. These organized play games were formed a while ago. This is my understanding now, before I got here, right? Two things I'll say. One is we have, the club runs 2 league days, one for men, one for women, Tuesdays and Wednesdays, right? The rest of them have been organized play, right? Granted, the community has grown since then, without question. They are there at the privilege of the pros, of the pro shop and the pro. That's who gives the permission for these and always has. And they look at it, I think, from a revenue perspective as to how much do they bring in after, how much are they generating versus if we don't. Well, I'm just, let me,
This is your understanding.
that's my understanding of it, okay? So that, if Tom comes in and says, we need to do something. I'm gonna need therapy. I'm gonna need therapy. If Michael says, we need to relook at these things, then we do, right? That's how it'll work in that regard. I already forgot my second point.
Let Michael.
Go ahead, Michael.
Yeah, just
You go ahead and I'll, if I think of it, I'll bring it up. But I got another one.
When it comes back to you to Dave, you just let.
Well, just let Michael go and then you can go, Terry.
You going first?
No.
Oh, okay. So yeah, and I totally get your point, and I want to apologize for not having an opportunity to call you back and everybody else.
That's fine.
Nuts for me.
It's gotten
But
straightened out.
I think we got to finally straighten it
Yes.
out, and I had a bunch of people calling you.
Okay.
And straighten it out. But, yeah, the encouraging thing that has occurred in the last few weeks is conversations initiated by, I mentioned this earlier, Peter Lightburn, Darren, and some of the other people that are involved in the golf league, Mark, of saying, hey, we would absolutely be willing to move our times to different times so that we can get more public play, or we can get more member play, or we can get a combination thereof out into earlier time slots in the day. Also, we could look at moving them, and I talked with somebody about this earlier, instead of 8:30, moving them 7 a.m. And they're out of the golf course early, and then we get the 8:30 to 10:30 timeframes that are much more attractive to other members and public, no matter what day of the week it is. Now, crazy as this may sound, this is the comment that came back to me. I was just telling this gentleman I just moved back from Spokane, and they're saying, "Oh, it's too cold to play golf in Florida at 7 a.m." Are you kidding me? Come on.
Okay, all right.
But so we are making some inroads into making some adjustments to that. One of the things too is that they currently do what really would be called a reverse shotgun, right? From one backward, it should be frontward, right? They should clear 1 through 7 or 8, right? 1 through 7 or 8. Then they come through and boom, now everybody else can go. Right now, the way it's reversed, then you're making the turn at prime time of 8:30 to 9:40.
Well, there was a rationale for that.
Right, and I know there was one. I mean, you have to make these decisions and you analyze it. What is it? Is that working best or not? Is there another way that might be better? Yeah, this is empathy for me, but analyzing, looking at these things and going, here's what I think, but let's prove our point before we make a decision.
Yeah.
Just like we talked about a minute ago, flipping the nines. Does that make sense? Maybe I was going to mention that, not to change to the subject, but
It happened too.
Just a couple points I want, just a couple points I want to make. So the reverse shotgun, the rationale there, just for every education, reverse shotgun is based on Ethan only, because he starts on that side of the course and he's not finished until about 8 o'clock on the back nine. So if you switch that around, he's not done in time. So that changes his whole crew. So that's the rationale for the reverse shotgun.
Yeah.
The second point, and I know this is very contentious about organized play. So the reason why we can sell passes and to pass holders or members, whatever we want to call them, is because we have organized play. That's, if you ask any of the pass holders why they want to come and play here, is the availability of having an organized game multiple times a week. If we take those away, we will lose pass holders. So we'll have to make up that additional revenue. So there's a fine line, and we have to balance that. But I'm just letting everybody know is like, hey, look, if all of a sudden the word gets out that we're canceling all organized play, we're not going to sell any passes. So.
Well, they used to get a bunch of guest rates, and we stopped the guest rates and made them take out annual passes in order to play in what used to be the organized games, which was primarily the Saturday. When there was the change to have public play between 11 and 2, which was never something that was proposed to the board, the other organized games started to pop up because they were members that were able to organize themselves and have games at other times. So just a little bit of history. The only business case that went to the board was the reverse Thursdays. There was no, what's the impact if we only sell public play between 11 and 2? That didn't happen. It was like, we need member play, so let's move public play to 11 to 2. We have now determined there's unintended consequences to that we need Michael to deal with.
But, okay, we're moving on. Terry is next. Terry is next.
Terry. I just want to start something that has nothing to do with golf. It has to do with.
Start with a joke. Start with a joke.
Start with a joke.
He's only got 3 minutes.
No, he's only got 3 minutes.
I just want to start with this. I don't look at us as Canadians, as snowbirds, as Southbirds, as Westbirds. We're all members. It doesn't matter if you live here 3 months, 6 months.
Thank you, Terry.
It makes no difference, okay? So that being said, I did talk to Osceola County, and so I'm going to be traveling a few months. We reduced my tax bill for the months I'm not here. I was so shocked at the answer I got. It was appalling. They said, absolutely not. I said, why? I don't use it. I'm not here those months. It doesn't matter. My point is, Abraham Lincoln started sales tax, started this taxation system. People fought it. I don't have kids in school. I'm not going to pay it. Yes, you are. Just for the betterment of society. This club and this community is no different. We have to set aside personal issues of this affects me and this doesn't affect me. And I can't pay for this and that person's getting more than I am. We have to set that aside. We have to look forward to how we can grow this community in harmony. I run a Monday, Friday league. I didn't organize these leagues per se. I was asked to take over some leagues that had no structure. So we started a Monday, Friday league. I am not selfish enough, and I don't think most of the people here are. We are willing to make changes that make sense for the community. We all have to be willing to do that. Otherwise, we're going to sit here and butt heads for the end of time. I've said my piece. I thank you.
All right, we got time for two more and we're done. Come up here and talk in the mic. No, come on up and talk in the mic, or you don't get to talk. You have to come and talk in the mic. You can be next.
I can't walk. It's a quick question.
I've seen you on the beach.
Mark,
wait. I have a quick. Quiet, please, quiet, so people can hear.
Did the policy on the 9-hole rate change? We don't offer 9-hole rates?
We didn't, that did change.
When did it
We
change?
we moved away from that
When?
because, quite a few months ago, at the beginning, yeah.
Was it
We moved away from that along with the pros advice because there was an issue of a lot of people were buying a 9-hole cart rate and playing 18. And so we went, and we didn't have evening marshals. And so we couldn't monitor the situation. So we did away with the 9-hole rate.
Yeah. I dislike changing a policy because of internal control like that we can't accomplish. Yeah, so I would like to think.
Well, we talked with the pro and the pro wanted to do it as well.
We have a new pro. We have a new pro. So what's your view on it?
Okay. I'm giving you a point for that one, Scott.
Actually,
Yes, right here. Right here. Come on up here and talk to us.
Hang on.
And then you're left.
I want to know.
Hang on, all right, time out. Hang on.
Michael's view on it. I know, right?
Yeah.
actually, last week, we talked about, Darren wasn't at the meeting because it's the weekly meeting that we have with the board members.
The board manager meeting?
Yeah. Of going back to the 9-hole rate beginning at this time of year, 3 p.m.
So
makes sense.
So
there's no way you can play past 5:30.
Makes very
So before
during summer, it would be a different scenario. It would be much later.
Yeah.
So before Tom left, we were talking about that too.
Yeah.
That very thing. So it has been talked about bringing back, but we do need to be able to monitor it and properly.
The pro shop needs to monitor
Yeah.
this and manage.
Absolutely.
Yes.
No, not us. That's what I mean. The club needs to be able to do that.
To answer your question, we're going to bring that back.
Okay, we're going to, so we've answered the question.
So with the Christmas season upon us, I'd encourage you to do it sooner rather than
Okay,
later.
we're going to move, very good. We're going to move on. This gentleman right here.
Okay. I just want to talk about a couple things that, first of all, I'm not a golfer, okay? I think most of the homeowners here, I'm not saying most, like probably like half of the homeowners here might not a golfer at all. And I do understand your feeling, how you get attacked, because I always get the same problem. There is so many rumors out there that talk about the golf club around the homeowner. For my own suggestion, like I do believe that either the whole or the community have to have more enhanced, like telling us what's going on here, like how you guys doing things, and you can go through different channels. And because we don't understand, like you say, reverse shotgun. I don't even know what is that. Okay, right. And we most of us not even know how you guys won the league. We always think that look like the tournaments that every 4 people go on the court at a time or something like that, that hold up the whole court for hours and hours. That's what we thought.
So to that end, we have in golf committee many times addressed that issue. We've addressed openly in many times that there are open spots. These are a lot of times they're money games and so forth that you can play in those organized games. You don't have to play in the money games if you don't want to. They're open to everybody.
Yeah.
They're open to everybody. So you don't have to be, it's just an opportunity where you don't have to make your own free time, but everybody is open to play.
Yeah, I understand that. But the thing is, most of the homeowner doesn't know that.
That's what.
We need to have more channel to let those homeowners know that. Look, it's not the way that not the way that you think. That's the fact. And so that's why we have so many problems. And be honest, why people show up in the meeting, or like you guys say, why people don't show up in the meeting before and now all of a sudden show up? Because that's the rumor also. And also
we're gonna let okay, so we're at the 3 minutes, so we hear you. Thank you. We will take that into consideration.
One more thing.
No, we're gonna move on to Joe, and that's our 3 minutes. Joe is it, and the meeting ends after Joe.
All right, Joe. All right, I got an easy one for you. So, first of all, fair warning, guys, I got about 3 more weeks till I'm back on the course. So, just a quick question. Look, this is the first golf meeting I've attended. I think most of them are, I think, was it 2 o'clock in the afternoon? So just, if you can have more meetings.
Every other one.
At 5 o'clock.
Every other one.
Already in place?
Yep.
Love it. That's what I
Perfect.
want.
And the only reason we didn't in the past is we do it to accommodate Ethan and the pro.
Yeah.
Because they're done, so.
They got, the housekeepers are cleaning up and stuff.
Yeah, so, all right.
No, so 5 o'clock, I love it. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Online questions?
With that.
Online questions?
Oh, yeah, what do you got quick online? Anything really quick?
Sure they
Just go up.
Yeah, probably not.
Oh, Lord.
There's more comments. There's all.
Just any questions real quick.
That's
Well, I would
That's
do it-
high enough, just
I would
scroll down
do
from
it
there.
From the time that we started, which would be at 7:30.
Well, there's
7:30.
yeah, go from like 7:30. Yeah, go from 7:30. That's the open forum. Go all the way.
Peter's got a question.
Peter, you have a question?
No.
Peter, your mic is muted, Peter.
He said he doesn't have a question.
And guys, quiet, Peter's talking.
Peter, go ahead. Peter, go ahead.
Can't hear you.
Peter, we can't hear you.
Sign language, Peter.
It's all up.
I agree.
All right, so. All right, so with that, do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Seconded.
All in favor? Aye. All right, thank you, everybody.
I think kind of for 4 hours.
We're done.
Okay, I hope so.
This was nice to meet you. This is it. We're done with it.
So you think they'll all be like nice? And I'm on board, but
That's
I'm
my
not
goal.
doing this.
That's my goal. I agree. I'm with you.
Yeah, I
Dan, fist bump on that.
You know, I never faster, I'll go out and get a beer.
And fist bump to your wife. Fist bump to your wife.
The place is closed now. Just got that from Jimmy. X out at the top. Top right.
I know.